Hello and welcome to America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2. We have live coverage from Hot Springs, Arkansas. That's right, racing from Oaklawn Park. We'll have live action too from Aqueduct, and a little special treat preview of our bonus coverage from Keeneland tomorrow, the Jenny Wiley Stakes and the Lexington. Hello to all of you. I'm Maggie Wolfendale, so pleased to be joined by champion jockey Richard Migliori, and we have a gorgeous day here in Hot Springs, Meg.
It really is a beautiful day. We've got the team on board here, so I'm thrilled with that. We got a beautiful little breeze, just a great day for thoroughbred racing. And yesterday we were looking at a track that I thought horses were struggling with a little kickback. It'll be interesting to see if it's a little bit of a different racetrack today.
If they've changed it at all. We are listed as fast to kick off the day here at Oaklawn. But coming up later, our featured event is race number 9. It's an entry-level allowance, and we do have some horses that are great at stakes faced, but the 5-2, one of the favorites is number 10, Master Mule, who comes off the highest speed figure of anybody in here with that 94. Now, granted, that was against some possibly lesser company in a starter allowance. Talk a little bit about what you saw, Meg, from this guy here, as he's going to kick it into gear down the lane.
Yeah, he really did. He found another gear under Christian Torres, and you could see the way he leveled off. And I love when horses stick their head out like that, Maggie, and really reach for ground. The mechanics of his stride are impeccable through the last eighth of a mile. He was finishing. It wasn't that the other horses were stopping as much as he really finished the deal.
His trainer, Abel Ramirez Rodriguez, having a great Oaklawn Park meeting. He looks to keep things going, and it looks as though, at least on paper here, Meg, there promises to be at least some speed for him to aim at.
Yeah, I agree with you. And usually you get speed. Even in races that don't appear to have a tremendous amount of speed sign on at Oaklawn, they go legitimate paces. I'm a little bit interested in him kind of getting the makeover, first time gelding. You know, he's a horse that showed so much promise, but has never quite followed through. Yes,
and his trainer, Ron Moquette, saying it's time to get focused and see if they can bring that talent to the forefront. Here are today's races, brought to you by Claiborne Farm. We'll show you the first 5 from Aqueduct, and then the first 4 from Oaklawn. Then we're back on for races 8 through 10. As always, you got to use your Naira Bets account to play. We have that really big Pick 6 carryover. I'm sure Andy Serling and Todd Schrupp, who we'll introduce in a moment, they'll have some insights on how to play that. But new members, Naira Bets, use that promo code MATCH200 and get that $200 deposit match bonus. Make sure you head on over to NairaBets.com. Like I said, you don't have to wait too long. We get to check in with Todd Schrupp and Andy Serling, who are standing by in South Ozone Park, Queens. Guys, looks like a nice day there too.
It certainly is. Maggie, Richie, thank you. Here it's, well, I have to say, even if it was cloudy, there's going to be a lot of optimism from the horse players because we got a huge carryover in the Pick 6.
I'm almost sure it's our biggest carryover since we've been to Saratoga, 138,000 and change, and maybe even going back to Saratoga. It's a real opportunity today. Obviously, there's not an abundance of big fields, though you might have thought going into yesterday's card, you wouldn't expect there to have been a double carryover today, so you never really know what's going to happen. There have been so many times somebody goes, oh, it just looks so chalky, and then after 2 legs, it's like, maybe not.
Well, and I think sometimes the small field can work towards what you talked about because a 5-1 winner goes as far as a 20-1 winner in, say, a big field.
Yeah, and I think, you know, one of the great misunderstandings out there about playing multi-race bets is not understanding that short prices can be your favorite. I don't think anybody's desiring to play a pick 4, pick 5, or pick 6 where they're just going to chalk it out. But the whole point of playing is you want to hit. And if it doesn't play that much, so be it. But you want to be in a position where it pays something. And, you know, a couple of short prices to single or lean on heavily can be your friend, because it doesn't matter if you get a couple of $4 horses home. If you get a $15 horse here and there in the sequence, they can still pay very well.
While we're focused on the Pick 6, that will be race number 3, scheduled to go off at 2:11 Eastern time. That carryover, $138,225. But the first race of the day is this starter allowance event, going a mile, for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward. We're taking a look at the one Snide, who comes back from a 2-turn effort, going a mile and an eighth, probably against better company, I think it would be safe to say, and now back to a 1-turn mile at 6-5. Good favorite or bad favorite at 6-5?
I think she is way the horse to beat in this race, and I don't think 6-5 is an underlay. She was wide last time on a day in a period of time where you needed to be on the rail. So I don't believe her exaggerated bad performance is really that bad, and I think her races 2 and 3 back are far more indicative of the kind of form she's been in, and I am not trying to beat her.
The first of 8 races on the card here in New York. Let's meet the field for race 1 at Aqueduct. We were just talking about Snide. As much as you like this horse, can you overlook the fact that Kyle's mom did beat her in her debut and comes in with back-to-back wins?
Yeah, because I don't believe she's the horse she is now. She has improved substantially from there. She also appears to be the controlling speed on paper. The
7-year-old mare, Racing Colors, and when you look through the resumes in here, a 4-time winner versus Snide, who's just won once.
And listen, she's not a winning type with the 7 seconds and the 11 thirds, but what she does do is gone consistently well enough to at least get a piece at a price.
As we were talking about, Kyle's mom, it did beat the favorite when the favorite made the debut, but Kyle's mom maybe not racing at the level that Snide has recently.
To be fair, though, she ran fast enough last time to be at least somewhat of a player.
Okay, as you've stated openly in public, you're a fan of the Amelia Green barn, and they've done a good job here with Grace and Grit, winner last time out.
I think Amelia's done a terrific job, and, you know, it's not easy to improve from Linda Rice, and she seemed to have done it last time. Can she take another step forward?
Here was the horse that I thought was a logical alternative to the favorite. What do you think of the 5, Vino Frizzante?
One of the reasons Linda Rice wins a lot of races is she often doesn't just have the horse to beat. She has the second best horse in the race. And Vino Frizzante, I'm surprised to see her a bigger price than both Kyle's Mon and Grace and Gritton here because she's been in good form.
If it's going to be small field, big price, here's your horse. Amy's Light is 26-1. The next biggest price in here is 6-1.
She would be a massive upsetter in here. But once again, she's another one that has a couple races going back that are fast enough. She's just not a likely winner here.
And that is your live post parade for the first of 8 races here at Aqueduct. Again, huge pick 6 carryover in race number 3 of over $138,000. But as we start our day watching the field down on the paddock with our observations of who looks best, Samantha Perry. Hey, Samantha.
Hey guys, thanks so much. A beautiful day here at Aqueduct with the sun shining. Probably a rare occurrence. I'm not going to say it's all me, but it is good to bring some of this sunshine here. And I'm going to try to beat the one to beat, which is Linda Rice 1, with the Linda Rice 1A. That is Vino Frizzante. This gal here, I thought that going back to this mile distance is such a perfect fit. That race 2 starts back was just such a sharp effort. I know it was for $50,000. And I know that she didn't win, but it was a lot of grit. And then the 7 furlong last time out, I just thought she kind of ran off her feet a little bit. Races going 7 furlongs tend to be just kind of a bit more on the bridle and a bit more quick pace. So the fact that we'll get to just stretch things out another furlong today, I love this post position as well. So I think that there is a lot of good things to like, including the price on Vino Frizzante.
Samantha, thank you. We'll be checking in with her throughout the day here in New York. We're about a minute away, but we're also checking with our team in Lexington, Kentucky. What a spring meet it has already been at Keeneland Racecourse. Still huge races ahead, and tomorrow, full team coverage on site, bringing you the racing action at Keeneland. But for now, making their way to Lexington, Kentucky, Jonathan Kenshin and Tom Amos, who called me about a month ago and said, hey, I just want to let you know, I'm retiring from training. Tom, what are you going to do with your time in retirement? Oh, I'm going to the track. So Tom Amos, the tree shaker with JK and one of our favorite places in all of racing. Hey guys, happy Friday.
Todd, it's good to see you. It's like I'm dreaming here, right? I got it thrown to me just now by Todd Schrupp. I'm here sitting next to the legend Tom Amos and Fox Sports is at beautiful Keeneland. It doesn't get better than this.
Look, when I said I was going to the races, Jonathan, when I told Todd that, I meant days like this. At the cathedral of racetracks, Keeneland Racecourse, when you walk in, you know you're doing something different than just going to the racetrack when you come here. The greats, Man o' War, Seattle Slew, more recently, Rachel Alexander, they've all raced here, and their legends and their spirit are here. You feel it when you walk in the gate.
Well, Tom, let's see. We got the Lexington tomorrow. Let's see if we can find another superstar that you can add to your list. And I think the conversation has to start with Brad Cox's favorite in here, Azum.
Yeah, recent winner at Colonial Downs. You're watching it right here, Jonathan. Draws off very impressively. First time going 2 turns, and this race tomorrow is a 2-turn race going 1 mile and a 16th. Don't forget, this race is the last chance for Derby points. It's almost like a Monday qualifier for a golf tournament.
No, absolutely. When you win like that, you'd like to think the connections, the rider, everyone is a little bit excited. Horses like this that win for fun will definitely take some money. And then we also, only do we have the Lexington, we're going to have the Grade 1 Ginny Wiley, where Lush Lips, who sold for $3.7 million in the last time she was in the auction ring. It seems like she's made a new friend in Acacia Clement.
Lush Lips right here, maybe a beast on the racetrack, but she is incredibly sweet and kind in the stall, as I've gotten a chance to see. She was a horse that did win already a Grade 1 here at Keeneland, now trying to go 2 for 2. She won the Queen Elizabeth II last year and will look to become just the second filly to come back and win the Jenny Wiley. The last horse to do that was Rushing Fall in 2018, 2019. So she would be in very good company. She was purchased in the November sale right here at Keeneland for $3.7 million by Dixiana Farms, sent back to her trainer Brendan Walsh, and immediately she rewarded them with a graded stakes win. Will now try to add another Grade 1 victory to her already impressive tally. Todd?
Acacia, we're looking forward to everything our crew will be bringing with updates today and then actual racing tomorrow at Keeneland Racecourse. It is a huge week here on America's Day at the Races, and we're about to get started at Aqueduct on this Friday, the field moving into line. Andy, can I talk you off snide? And I'm not talking about attitude.
No, we're both snide, and I think it's nice to have you here this week.
But
and
in
you
a
and I at
nice
the desk
way.
together when snide is running. I mean, what could be more perfect than that? I actually remember betting this horse a few races back and saying, how could I not bet on a horse named Snide? I think she wires the field, so do a lot of people.
You're not alone. The inside is the favorite. Snide at 6-5. Let's go up to track it out. Sir Chris Griffin live. Race number 1 from Aqueduct. It's America's Day at the Races underway on Fox Sports 2.
And they're off at Aqueduct. The 4 outside, Amy's Light is showing early speed, but here comes favored Snide. Snide at the rail, now puts ahead in front. Amy's Light is not going to let the leader get away. They're a clear 1-2, and just off of them will be Vino Frizzante. A little keen there in the purple silks as to the outside of Racing Colors. That's the leading 4 with the 2 trailers. Patiently ridden, Kyle's Mom, who's going to hold that rail position with the trailer. Grace and Grit. They're tightly packed now as they slow things down up front. 23-4, an easy opening quarter for Snide. Mild pressure to the outside from Amy's Light, and center of the racetrack still keen for Sahin Savachi. It's Vino Frizzante. There's a seam at the rail, and Kyle's Mom has worked on through, now took 3rd. Racing Colors is pushed back to 5th. The trailer continues to be Grace and Grit. They've got to catch Snide. Snide and Manny Franco having an easy way up front. 47.28 for a half-mile time. Snide, with that mild encouraging, goes into the turn, and Amy's Light is trying to lead the charge. Here, 3 wide, Vino Frizzante is now cut loose 3 wide, is chasing this leader, Snide, who's got plenty still. Grace and Grit's going to be wide, no move yet, down towards the inside from Kyle's Mom, and Racing Colors is the trailer. Snide reaches the quarter pole, and Snide hugs the rail and tries to kick away. Grace and Grit with that big move there around the turn, and now unleashed center of the racetrack as Snide is in for the fight, and Grace and Grit's trying to push on by. A furlong left to go, and these two to duke it out here in the opener. It's Snide to the inside. Grace and Grit just could not cut into the margin. Snide is extending once again. Give it to Linda Rice and Snide in the opener. Grace and Grit was 2nd, then Racing Colors up for 3rd over Amy's Light in 1 minute 36.74 seconds.
Snide takes the field gate to wire here, but not without a challenge at a key point at the top of the stretch from Grace and Grit. But what was key here were those internal fractions, Andy. That 2nd quarter mile was a breather for Snide. Perfectly executed here by Manny Franco.
I agree. I was going to make that same point, that she was able to get away with a pretty moderate pace, especially when you consider the time, which is reasonably fast for this level of horses to get it done. And Grace and Grit looked like she was going to go right by her top of the stretch. And as you say, not only is Snide maybe a little bit better, but also she kind of had things her own way. Something you could see going into the race. But Snide gets it done, and she was clearly the best horse. But Grace and Grit ran another good race, and both of her races for Amelia Green have been good. And I think it's arguable, even though she didn't win today, she has improved in both of her starts. And my old favorite, Racing Colors, managing to get third in there, a distant third. And even Amy's Light was fourth.
1-4 out the door. Your top two finishers here. It's your favorite at even money over your second choice, the 4 Grace and Grit. And then, as Andy mentioned, finishing third is the 2 Racing Colors at 8-1, and finishing fourth is the 6 at 33-1. That is Amy's Light. Waiting for race number 1 to go official here at Aqueduct, and counting down to the start of the Pick 6. It'll be one of the biggest pools in the country today. A carryover here at Aqueduct of $138,000. That will be in race number 3. But we're just getting started on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. We'll be back.
Testing 1.
And we're counting down to the final race in the Triple Crown, and the final time that we will have the Belmont Stakes Festival at Saratoga. You can check out all ticket packages right now at belmontstakes.com, and that'll be here before you know. We're talking so much about the first Saturday May and the Kentucky Derby, but we're going to be upstate real soon.
And I think, we have not raised the prices despite the fact that you're going to be there. You would have thought, with you now announced to being there that week, that the demand for the tickets would just go through the roof. So it's an especially good deal now knowing Todd is there. So you want to come to Belmont Stakes Weekend and see Todd, you better get up there.
So speaking of cost, should there have been a frivolous claim of foul in race number 1? While we were away, we had a jockey's objection second against first. The stewards looked at it for, I think, an amount of time that deserved what we all thought was going to be no change. What did you think of this claim of foul here?
When you watch the pan, I thought you could see it a little bit. But when you watch there, Manny comes out about a path, but he doesn't even make contact with his horse, and that's it. That's the only thing that happens. So I don't know. I almost wonder a little bit. I mean, I'm guessing Jamie says the outrider, but I almost wondered if a trainer said you should claim here, because I could see on the pan why somebody might have thought there was contact. Once you watch the head on, there was nothing, and the stewards, who do take their time, which is fine, did not take much time on this one.
All right, congratulations to the connections of Snide getting the win. But let's go to the pan shot that you were talking about. On the head on, you can see Manny Franco is going to the left-handed whip, but he's maintaining his position as they turn for home. And it's tough coming off the turn to keep a horse perfectly straight.
Yeah, I mean, listen, he's got the left hand. He's gone out a little bit, but there was really no contact in here, and there was nothing that affected the race. I do, though, like when stewards look at things regardless.
Yes.
Because I think a lot of times the fans see something happen, and, you know, without seeing the head on, the pan can look like something happened, and I think the stewards should always let the fans know they're watching.
Early on in my career, it was frustrating for me because we would be working at a racetrack. Let me take the defunct Hollywood Park, and everything would run through their television room for a broadcast, and someone would say, oh, the stewards are looking at it, and I'd look for an inquiry, and it never came up. Like, if you're going to take a look at it, do it, because the rest of the betting public is wondering the same thing. Did you see what I saw?
I think that's something that we had happening around here that hasn't happened since we've got, you know, Victor Escobar came in as an Irish steward, Cody Watkins, the Jockey Club steward. It's something I even talked with those guys about when they first started, that sometimes they'd be looking and they wouldn't blink it. And you've got to tell the fans we're looking. You know, it's good to look, and the stewards are always watching. I mean, people know that they're watching things carefully, but I think it's important to let them know we're looking, and we do that much better now than we used to.
Okay, you saw the odds coming up for race number 2, 6-furlong claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward, which have never won 2 races lifetime. The claiming price in here, $30,000. We got another, well, I mean, currently looking up at the board as the favorite, it's actually pretty good, 5-2. I mean, 5-2, 3-1, 3-1. Is this race that wide open?
Yeah, I mean, looking at the doubles, I think right now you can see them. 4 horses are between $10 and $13 and change in here, which indicates it's open. I think level of trust, if you were to say there's a theme of this race, it's level of trust. Do you trust Sir Cartwright making a drop after a bad race? Can Matt Tudor wire the field? The 1 and 3, who I kind of like, both of them are a little unreliable looking at them on paper.
Last Kentucky Derby prep is officially tomorrow. The Lexington Stakes in Keeneland tomorrow. We have on-site coverage here on America's Day at the Races, and when we come back, we're going to talk about where we sit right now leading to the Kentucky Derby. There's been a couple of announcements of defections and horses who have decided, hey, maybe we're getting back in now. That ahead when we return on America's Day at the Races.
The classic sire.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets.
Look at these 2 juveniles going at it, and it is Forte.
It is Forte in front. Forte on to victory here in the Grade 1 hopeful.
Forte on the outside, and Forte to win the Breeders' Cup Juvenile.
Forte starts to gather in the top horses. This is going to be very close, but the champion prevails. Forte wins.
Saturday, Fox's America's Day at the Races team is live from Keeneland for the very first time.
Thrilling stakes action includes the Lexington as the last chance to qualify for a spot in the Kentucky Derby, and Keeneland's iconic Jenny Wiley on the grass. Plus special team coverage from Oaklawn Park featuring the Apple Blossom Handicap and more live from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Catch Keeneland and Oaklawn Stakes races Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on FS1.
Welcome back to those joining us here on Fox Sports 2. It's America's Day at the Races. We are live here at Oaklawn Park in Hot Springs, Arkansas. Maggie Wolfenhill, Richard Migliori with you now. And the road to the Kentucky Derby often stops here at Oaklawn Park with such very popular winners of the Derby. American Pharoah, Smarty Jones comes to mind, and most recently Mystic Dan. They made their preparations for those Derby wins here in Hot Springs.
Well, it's such a comprehensive series of races, and it builds that crescendo to the Arkansas Derby, and they're putting up big purses. And to me, this racetrack is the most similar to Churchill Downs out of any other racetrack they can prep at. So I think it's got to factor in the fact that there's some continuity to it. They maybe can get 2, even 3 preps here if they want to. Silent Tactic actually got 4 here this year. So you can see why this has become a very successful kind of stomping grounds for Derby horses.
But some unfortunate news as far as this year's Rebel winner, Class President. He was scratched from the Bluegrass Stakes. It was 50-50 of whether he would still go to the Kentucky Derby, but Elliott Walden of Windstar announcing that he will be out of the Kentucky Derby. He needs 60 days rest due to bone bruising. They did all the diagnostics. He will not need surgery, just rest.
Well, listen, they're ahead of it. They're very diligent, and the care they give to their horses is second to none. So the fact that they picked up the not quite right, let's give them the time. It's a long season, Maggie. I mean, we put so much emphasis on the Triple Crown, and obviously, rightfully so. But there's a lot of big races through the second half of the year, including races like the Travers.
Absolutely, as Sovereignty comes to mind, of course, last year's Derby and Travers winner. But as far as the 152nd running of the Kentucky Derby, here is your points leaderboard. We do see Commandment. Further ado, nice to be Brad Cox this year, but sitting up there in third with 125 points. This year's Arkansas Derby winner, Renegade. How does he stack up, Mig, in this year's Kentucky Derby starting gate?
I think he stacks up very well. What I love about his Arkansas Derby and his Sam Davis is he was really hitting his best stride inside the furlong grounds. This is a horse that 1.25 miles is not going to be an issue. I love the way he finishes. He shaded 12 seconds his last furlong in the Arkansas Derby. That's racehorse time. Thing that stands out, though, looking at this potential Kentucky Derby lineup, is not what I call Derby speed in here. There's not the kind of speed you see signed on in some other years. Now, I still think it'll be a legitimate or even a little bit fast side of a pace for 1.25 miles because of 20-horse field, the Kentucky Derby, long run to that first turn. But I don't think you're going to see some of the Derby paces we've had in the past. I'd be surprised if they went, faster than 47.
It does seem like many of the main contenders want at least a target out in front of them, but one that has danced every dance as far as this Arkansas road to the Derby is Silent Tactic for trainer Mark Casse. As we welcome in Megan Burgess, who joins us trackside. Meg, you have been here for all of Silent Tactic's races. He did get that win in the Southwest. What do you think about his chances in the Derby?
Well, Maggie, I agree with Mig as far as describing the potential pace, as he is yet another closer where it seems as if there are a plethora of them in this year's Kentucky Derby field that's assembled a strong cast of characters, and he might be under the radar as he is danced every dance. He's been raced as Mark Casse races his horses and now been able to progress. But the problem I do have with him was last time out, he did get that same 91 Beyer speed figure as he did in his Rebel performance against Class President, and he ran his race. He made the first move before Renegade did on a moderate pace. I believe they went 47-4, and I find he had the better of the trips compared to his foe, and Renegade coming away home in 12.52 seconds. Renegade's final eighth was 11.75 4 seconds. So he's going to have to get a lot faster and finish a bit better in this 1.25 mile test in the Kentucky Derby. And he's also not the most physically imposing. He's got some size to him, but not a tremendous amount. And I will say this, physically he's kept himself very well. He's protected himself. He's stayed sound. And Maggie, I do have my questions as far as the 1.25 mile distance the first Saturday in May.
Rightfully so. Meg hasn't been able to kind of get it done at these distances here, the 1.125 miles of the Arkansas Derby. You know, a horse that, you know, she mentioned his size. He's very well put together, though, but that also lends itself to durability. Horses that are maybe a little smaller, a little handier.
Well, they're easier on themselves, right? They're not going to hit the ground quite as hard. But you got to respect him because he shows up. Yes, he'll need some luck, and he'll have to maybe get a little bit better. But you got to like a horse that shows up every time.
Meg, we are 16 minutes out to the opener here at Oaklawn Park, and holding steady as the heavy favorite. It has been the number 4, Zippy Mark. He'll try to stretch things out in distance for only the second time in his career for Kenny McPeak. More to come on this field on America's Day at the Races.
Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bet. Sign up today and get up to a $200 deposit match bonus with the promo code MATCH200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world and start winning today. Join now at NairaBets.com. Welcome back to America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2 here at Aqueduct. I'm Todd Schrupp. Very pleased to be with Andy Serling. We'll be checking in with Samantha Perry, who's been watching the horses in the paddock. They lead the paddock now for our post-parade in race 2. We start with the 1, Togadoro.
This is my top pick. How can you not like a horse that was just eased in its last start? This is a tougher spot. I like the turn back and distance, and he has races going back good enough to win.
Light bulb angle here. Into Inspiration is coming off the maiden victory. Took 16 tries to get that first win. Can the horse win right back?
He's got some fast figures that are good enough to win here. The barn's been very live. I think he'll be more forward in a race where Math Tutor looks like the main speed.
13 G's has not looked very good off the claim.
He's my other horse in here.
Really?
You know, well, he lost all chance to the start with the stumble in the irons, and last time out caught a muddy seal track and a big speed track.
Dr. Merciless going through. Here's the 5 Math Tutor on the lead last time out and then stopped badly.
I don't know if he's good enough, but if you like lone speed, he could be for you.
And then the 6 is Sir Cartwright. I listened to you on Talking Horses. You struggled with this horse a little bit?
Sam likes this horse more than I do, and I get it. He's got back races not that long ago that would smoke this field. I don't love this drop down coming off a bad race last time out. It was a race that came apart, even though it was a time when speed was okay, but I don't totally trust him. It's a race where trust is at a premium.
Samantha Perry was on Talking Horses with Andy. We know you liked the 6 on paper, Samantha, but what are you seeing in the paddock?
Well, the number 1 looks like a horse who, 1, needed to be gelding, and 2, needs to sprint, and that's what he's going to do today, and he gets the gelding as well. So I like this a lot. Just looking at him physically, he's just such a strong, big, solid horse, and I think he's got a lot of speed if he can get back to those races. And he's not a horse that needs the lead by any means or anything like that. I think he's one that will just settle into a nice rhythm. There's speed on the outside with Math Tutor. I can imagine the 2 Into Inspiration is going to take some initiative up front with the Apprentice aboard. This horse does add front wraps here today. Read into that what you will for the very first time. And we'll look at the 6 to kind of bookend this field, because I think that the 6 is a horse that, if you key off the race 2 starts back against Allowance Company, I thought it was a pretty strong race. The 4th place finisher came back to win a New York bred allowance race. A fantastic looking horse out on the track as well. As you can't really see him behind the pony here, but he does look really good just physically. And Raylu Gutierrez, this is a jockey that I know he is winless here coming back to this Aqueduct meet, but he's very aggressive with them. He won't let them get too far away, especially with the so speedy, the 5 Math Tutor right to his inside. A Math Tutor, I need one of those for sure.
I was terrible at math in school, but then I went to the racetrack and I became an A student at it.
Well, you know, it's interesting how much better your skills seem to come when you go to the racetrack after being in school. Math is a funny thing. I always joke with my friend Andy Beyer, who makes the Beyer speed figures, but Andy was an English major in college, you know, and well, his math skills, and he's one of the great bettors I've ever known in life. I think of him more, you know, he's the one who's been correcting my grammar my entire life. My father did, and then Andy took over.
Let's talk more about Into Inspiration, the horse who took 16 tries to get the first win of his career. Now, he was 8-1, so you can't just say, oh, he met the right field. It's not like he was an odds-on favorite. Why was this day the day for Into Inspiration?
I will say that this barn got very hot for a brief period of time. This might have been a day the trainer won 2 races. But the reality is, if you look at him, he's got some sporadic races among his starts that are fast enough to run a race like this. And I know we've seen this a lot. You know, you have a horse that just can't seem to get it done. Finally breaks its maiden, and it's like the horse says, hey, winning's not so bad, and they can come back and win. I'm not going to be shocked when this horse is effective. I prefer other horses more. But in this race, and it shows it on the board. I mean, look at this race. There were 4 3-1s and a 7-2. Now there's a 5-2, 3 3-1s and a 4-1. The bettors are telling you, and I think it's apparent on the board, that other than the 4, who is a late scratch now, the number 4, Dr. Merciless, apparently is going to come out. Is that what we're saying?
Yeah, so a 24-1 shot. So the remaining horses are the horses who are all within a point of each other. So we're going to have a bit of a delay here, but again, note the late scratch. You're seeing it happen right here. The 4, Dr. Merciless, in race number 2. But we're getting close to post time for race number 1, the first race of the day in Hot Springs, Arkansas at Oaklawn Park. Let's rejoin our team coverage there, anchored by Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Todd, as we do have Arkansas breds on the track to kick off the live racing here at Oaklawn, mile and a 16th, Meg, and we will meet the field once they make that fabled turn. Oh, here. Magic of TV. A Fleet Sky goes out for Alan Milligan.
Yeah, maybe kind of starting to round back into form. Last time was the best effort yet. Still feels like there's improvement needed.
Good old 2 for 52. Dinner at Crumpy's.
Dinner at Crumpy's begs the question, where is Crumpy's and how is dinner?
Strike Ridge adds some speed to the mix.
And has races that would certainly put him in the frame here.
Heavy favorite, even money on Zippy Mark.
Yeah, this is a very short price for a horse that I have questions about how far, if he really wants this distance.
And number 5, Giant Mood, showed speed last time. That was the first time he did so.
But he does have some versatility where he can sit just off the pace, and maybe that gives him the right kind of trip.
$2 Eddie could be the fastest of the fast, but from that outside post position.
Yeah, definitely adding speed to the affair here. This horse has sprint speed when he sprints, and now stretched out effectively in his last 2 starts. Will he take another step forward?
That's your field here for the opener. It looks as though they've got things arranged there at the starting gate, Todd, and we'll send it back to you guys for this second race at the Big A.
And Maggie, back here, before we went to Hot Springs, we showed you the late scratch of the 4, Dr. Merciless. If you had that horse in the early pick 5, you're going to switch to the post-time favorite. I thought that might come down to the last couple of turns of money. Maybe it will, but it looks like the one Togadoro is now entrenched as our favorite at 2-1.
Yeah, while he went to Oaklawn, a ton of money came in on Togadoro to make him 2-1 in this race, and he's my pick. I am shocked he's 2-1. Unfortunately, he's a better price than that in the double, but he's taking all the money, and I think it could be a good sign for a horse that was pretty good, and he has been over his head in his last couple of starts.
Remember, once we get by this race, the focus for a lot of horse players around the country is going to be our next race at Aqueduct. That's race number 3, a carryover in the pick 6 of $138,225. But first up, it's race 2 at the Big A. Here's Chris Griffin with the call.
And they're off. Math Tutor broke sharply from in between horses, and there goes Math Tutor right to the front, and challenging will be Sir Cartwright. Is going to hold back here in third. Is at the rail. It's going to be Into Inspiration right behind this leader. 13 G's. Manny Franco there on the move, center of the racetrack, as they are well spread out. Togadoro is the trailer. They're chasing Math Tutor. Math Tutor is up by a length and a half with 4 furlongs left to go. Quick opening quarter, 22.48. Unopposed, and Math Tutor is just moving right along. Into Inspiration towards the inside is now head and head. Right there with Sir Cartwright, and 13 G's is all in. Manny Franco is all over 13 G's, still 5 off the leader. Far back, it's Togadoro. Hugging the rail, and Math Tutor is trying to add to this margin and pour it on, and Math Tutor is well out in front. 13 G's is looking to split rivals right now for a minor placing. Togadoro is rolling from way out of it with a furlong left to go. It's Math Tutor who's got the lead. Comfortable margin so far. 13 G's is chasing, and Togadoro still rallying on. Might get up for second, but no catching Math Tutor. Front-running score. Togadoro did get second over 13 G's, and Into Inspiration at 1 minute 9.94 seconds.
If you had told me Math Tutor was going to run a half mile of 44-4 on the lead, I would say he's going to stop as badly as he did back in February 21st. Not the case. He keeps on going.
Yeah, this is a little mystifying, to be honest. And you watch the first couple races, I don't think we're dealing with a big inside speed track, or the one wouldn't be able to make the run he did from second. This horse has that one big figure last June at Churchill, and other than that, he's just kind of slow. He was the main speed on paper, and he certainly was much the best today. I'm just not sure how you find this performance in his PPs.
Math Tutor leading the way at 7-2. That's race number 2 at Aqueduct, but we're looking out to Oaklawn Park. Race 1 is just 2 minutes away.
And guys, 2 gate-to-wire winners in the early double there at Aqueduct. As Mig, you and I are going to take a look here at your 6-5 favorite, Zippy Mark. Now, he's trying to stretch back out in distance to this 1 1/16. The only other time he did that was in a stakes race for Arkansas breds, where he didn't get to run on Lasix, and also against better quality Arky breds.
Yeah, no, it was definitely, I think, a better quality group, if you will. Right now he's in with this group, and I just question, he ran okay, he ran well, but he loomed up there like he had to win, and then he just kind of caved a little bit late. And I've always contended, I think horses that don't really want to go long do it best the first time they do it. And the mare has produced one other foal that's a pure sprinter. She's by City Zip. That's all sprint pedigree. I'll look someplace else instead of 6-5 there.
Yeah, my biggest question is what kind of trick does he pull? Because there's other speed in here, so maybe he sits off of it and he has enough to finish late. He's one that definitely held his own up in Saratoga against Open Company. As Meg, are you with Zippy Mark or against?
I'm with him looking at him because I totally get what Meg is saying. When you look at his form, I'm dubious of closing sprinters stretching. I'm actually firmly against them. And on paper, it gives you that indication. But physically, he's got the size and the frame to him that doesn't give me any qualms about him getting this route of ground distance, where it's not as if he ran a poor race routing against Arkansas bred stakes caliber, and he's just rolled off some incredibly consistent races and done so against the likes of open foes, as we saw in Saratoga over this summer. And I will say this, I first saw this horse came in January, and my notes on him, he needed a little bit more zest to him. He just wasn't as alert. He was, honestly, I didn't love him physically. He's really turned a corner. I've really liked to see his progression through his 3 races so far this meet at Oaklawn. And I think with this compact group, with his typical closing style sprinting, I think he'll be naturally more forward, as these kinds of horses are when they kind of get into a smaller group. So I like what I see from him physically, even though on paper I understand why you would have your doubts about him at a short price. But the number 3, Strike Ridge, this horse looked fantastic coming off of one of his best performances last time out. That was against Open Company. Now he gets back against Arky Bred's second off of the bench, and I found his last race incredibly encouraging. He's, of course, going to be a part of the main speed puzzle, but I find there's others in here that will be with him on the front end. He's got the consistency here at Oaklawn Park, and I wonder, though, at this 1.16 mile distance, he's also one of those that hasn't quite gotten this distance in the past. This is only his second try doing so, so we shall see, but loved what I saw from him as he stretches further off of that mile try last time out. Now, the number 6, $2 Eddie, I also found appealing underneath. And at the end of the day, though, I am going to chalk it out a little bit here with the 4 Maggie, as he looked to me best in this spot.
Totally get that, Meg, as you went to number 3 in here, Strike Ridge. I think he needs to be forward to do his best running, much like we saw with him shipping in to Sam Houston last time to get the win. He did come into that race, though, Meg, with 2 bullet workouts here at Oaklawn.
Yeah, and listen, I don't know what happened to him in December and January here. Those were atrocious efforts from him, the worst of his career. But then obviously found himself in a big way last time at Sam Houston. I agree with you. He needs to be forward to do his best work, but I don't think he needs the lead. And I think he'll get a decent trip. I just couldn't take even money on the 4. I'm not going to be surprised when the 4 wins. I just thought that maybe this was a better alternative.
These Arkansas breds will kick off the action on this Friday. It is Apple Blossom Eve, as we got some exciting news, as it's the Apple Blossom this weekend, but next weekend it's a return of Horse of the Year Sovereignty, but his old familiar friend and foe, journalism, will be on to take him on again here at Oaklawn. How exciting is this to see this rematch, plus throwing in some of the older handicap horses too?
It is so exciting to have journalism and sovereignty, the 2 best 3-year-olds from last year squaring off this early in the year.
Yeah.
So happy we're going to be here to cover it.
Oh, I'm so looking forward to next weekend. I can't wait to see what Sovereignty does coming back now as a 4-year-old. And to call all the action, including this opener, it's Matt Dinnerman. Take it away, Matt.
We're off and running at Oaklawn Park. Giant Moon wins the break, goes right to the lead as I say that here. $2 Eddie there on the outside, a half length back, a little bit keen here. Strike Ridge down on the inside of horses is moving up level with Giant Moon as they go into the first turn. He passes him, so Strike Ridge is the pacemaker around the turn. Giant Moon 3 parts of a length behind, running in second. $2 Eddie asked to relax now, is third in the bridle with Dinner at Crumpy's. Then comes Zippy Mark, he's second to last. A Fleet Sky at the rear as they approach the backstretch run. Strike Ridge, David Cabrera lets him loose, and he opens up to a 4-length lead down the backstretch. Strike Ridge all alone here. Giant Moon happy to track behind now. He's second. Then comes $2 Eddie in third outside of Dinner at Crumpy's. Gap of 2, Zippy Mark, and that leaves a Fleet Sky to trail down the backstretch. Strike Ridge motoring along, went 23-2 for the first quarter mile. The half 47 flat, so they hit the half-mile pole. It's still Strike Ridge, loose up top, 3-length lead approaching the turn. Giant Moon behind in second. $2 Eddie third. Zippy Mark getting underway. Claims fourth from Dinner at Crumpy's Who Weekends and A Fleet Skies well behind. Rounding the far turn, Strike Ridge, 3 furlongs to the money. 2-length lead. Giant Moon sent along from second. $2 Eddie, a half length off of him. And Zippy Mark, he's gotten a fast pace to run into. He's moving up and he's gaining good ground here. Zippy Mark approaching the top of the lane. He's behind horses inside. He's getting outside, finds a seam as they come off the turn. Zippy Mark motoring to the front, ran right by Strike Ridge, who is out of gas after that fast pace. Zippy Mark with a furlong to go. He's clear by 3. $2 Eddie tired. He's trying to hold on for second. There are no dangers for that position at this point, and there are no dangers to Zippy Mark, who's going to coast in. An open length winner of the opener, Zippy Mark from Manny Esquivel. $2 Eddie second best, and then came Strike Ridge, just headed out. Giant Moon for the third spot.
Zippy Mark in the class prevailing. Not used to having to hold a mic. Just kidding. I'm always holding a mic, but not on set. He was able to get the perfect setup here. We saw number 3, Strike Ridge, go out to the lead. Took a little bit of heat mig, and it just made things right for the taking for Zippy Mark to split horses and kick on.
No, this was just a really nice performance by Zippy Mark. I could not have been more wrong about him in the distance, the way he finished. I've got a good patient ride from Manny Esquivel, and I love when riders get that inside-out trip, save the ground, tip out. Obviously had a lot of horse underneath him, but he contributed a really nice ride. Strike Ridge I thought was a little bit keen. $2 Eddie, another good performance on the stretch out.
He did. He was able to hold on for second, $2 Eddie, but no match for number 4, Zippy Mark, your unofficial winner for Ken McPeak and Manny Esquivel, as we head north, back up to the Big A with Todd and Andy.
Thank you, Maggie. Thank you, Richie. Andy, you've had some time to think about this win by Math Tutor. What'd you miss?
I mean, I don't think we missed anything if you didn't like him, because you knew he was the clear speed. Track is playing quickly. Is it helping speed? I don't know. We've seen horses make runs from behind lesser spots. This horse just freaked today. I don't think it's impossible or a shock. I just didn't particularly like him and didn't trust him.
Tutor, owned by Copper Thoroughbreds, trained by Jenna Antonucci, rid to victory by Christopher Elliott, Bay Gelding by Algorithms out of the Street Boss Mare, Camare, bred by Suzanne Shockley and Michael Masters in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Okay, to the race that we are most anticipating on this 8-race card. It's the third here at Aqueduct because it starts the pick 6. You can play for the $1 increment. Got to pick 6 winners in a row, and the carryover coming in $138,225.90. So for 2 days, they haven't solved the pick 6. They're going to solve it today. That's a guarantee just looking at it. But as you look at the sequence, where's the separator? Where's the race that's going to prove to be most difficult today?
I think the last race is probably the most open race in the card.
Chad Brown horses in there?
But there's quite a few horses that have run similar type numbers. I think Chad's horses are dangerous. Listen, if you're somebody who thinks speed is particularly dangerous, the horse who's going to be favored here and is currently favored, Elegant, becomes a very tough horse because the only other speed, Principia, the 6-4 comes out. So we'll see how aggressive Moongate is, but she'll need to be aggressive to stay with Elegant. I'm not Elegant's biggest fan, but she becomes very much the horse to beat. I do like it as Trutus, the 3, who I think will end up second choice by post time. Who are the horses to lean on? If I was going to lean on 2 horses in this sequence, the 2 I would lean on would be So Spirited, the number 6 in the 5th race for Linda Rice, and in the 6th race, the number 7, Wonder Mist for Wesley Ward, who's so dangerous when he ships in from Kentucky with horses. So if I was going to lean on 2 horses in the sequence, they would be the 2.
Later today, after we're done with our portion here on America's Day at the Races, a friend of mine's bringing some sandwiches down to the Silks area. Going to do some simulcasting. But if you're at Keeneland, the food is fantastic, Andy. You know this. Some of the best racetrack food in America. And, they've got lots of bourbon. Jonathan Kenshin looking forward to that. We'll check in with more at Keeneland Racecourse and everywhere across the country here on America's Day at the Races.
Here comes that big gray Tappet Trice right down the outside.
Tappet Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
Tappet Trice's 2024 debut was awesome.
Tappet Trice is lunging. Tappet Trice wins the Woodward.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the NyraBets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing, get expert picks, boost your bankroll with weekly promotions, and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the NyraBets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with NyraBets.
Adelphi Racing Club offers the unparalleled excitement of owning thoroughbred racehorses at a fraction of the cost. We're not just a syndicate, and our members aren't just investors. We are partners. Our New York-based high-performing equine athletes, trainers, and jockeys compete and win at the highest level circuits. Contact us online to get a taste of the Adelphi difference, and let's win races together.
Standing at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds, top young stallion Solomini, a Grade 1 son of Curlin and sire of 2026 graded placed New York Stakes winner National Identity.
Inside the final furlong, National Identity. Acoustic Ave is making up some ground. National Identity is almost home. Acoustic Ave second. National Identity wins the Safe Florida Ascendi.
Solomini, standing for $7,500 in 2026 at McMahon of Saratoga Thoroughbreds.
Welcome back. You're watching America's Day at the Races, where we are proudly brought to you by America's Best Racing. Make sure you head on over to americasbestracing.net to see what's new this week, including Mike Curry's Fab 4 of the probables of the Kentucky Derby field for 2026, which includes Commandment, Further Ado, Renegade, and the Puma. Also have a preview of the Lexington Stakes by Bob Ehalt, as well as Patrick Reed, and how to bet on them to make some money, including number 1 Corona d'Oro, as well as number 10 Confessional. Of course, we'll have live coverage of the Lexington Stakes coming up tomorrow with the crew there at Keeneland. But today here at Oaklawn, we kick things off with a favorite winner in number 4, Zippy Mark Mig for Kenny McPeak, John Hulleman, and Vanny Escobar.
Really nice performance by Zippy Mark. Was able to, relax towards the back of the field. There was a good pace on, saved all the ground under Manny Escobar, tipped out, and drew away as much the best.
Bug action today here on the set, but Zippy Mark, even throwing his ears up at the end, found it easy today, getting back in the winner's circle for his 5th career win out of 11 starts. 3 to 5, $2 Eddie completes your exacta, with Strike Ridge filling out the trifecta. As we'll take a look here at race number 2. It is a claiming 9, non-2 in a year, going 6 furlongs, full field of 10 going postward. We do see number 7 in here, Underhill's Tab, which is the drop down for trainer Chris Hartman. He is looking to find some friends, as we were speaking about Keeneland and our friends there. I'm a little jealous, I'm not gonna lie, because Tom Amos, as well as Jonathan Kinchin and Acacia Clement, Craig Wolf will be there too, but they are checking out some of the best food that we have at a racetrack. Guys, what do you got in store for us down there? Make our mouths water, make us jealous, do all of it.
Maggie, I don't want to make you jealous, so we're not having that much fun. I am lying to you more than I've ever lied to you in my entire life. I love this place, Tom. I have a highlight reel of the things I like. First of all, the burgoo. People talk about it all the time. It's one of my favorite. It's like a stew, soupy type of thing. I eat it when it's 80 degrees. I don't care. There's a bourbon bar right over here. that has like all these like really nice, special, can't find them in your liquor store bourbons, and they're not that expensive. But I also have the betting menu here, right? They got the $3 all-turf pick 3 with 15% takeout, a late pick 3 for $3 with 15% takeout, and their superfecta is 50 cents. And I know the 10-cent super players are like, I don't like that. I promise you, it's better for you. It's harder. It's much harder for the computers when you have that 50-cent wager.
What about the atmosphere? The atmosphere is something special here at Keeneland. You know you're at a place. It literally is the cathedral of North American horse racing. And this is where I stand for every race I've run in, and there have been a lot of them. So on one side, you got the betting windows. Those bettors, they wait till the last minute to bet. The other side, you got the margarita and beer. So you got quite a crowd on either side of you. I watch my race. If I'm lucky enough to win, then I get to take a walk down victory lane, and here it is right here. I pass my friends. I know all these guys, and they're great. Walk through here, and I'm getting ready to come to what I would consider sacred ground, the winner's circle at Keeneland. If you're lucky enough to make it there, it's an experience you will never forget.
I absolutely love it here. It's such a simplistic approach to racing. It reminds me a lot of Saratoga in a certain way, that the way that you feel when you walk in here and the way you feel when you leave. And I'd imagine that Acacia Clement is also somewhere around here having a good time.
I'm having a great time, JK. I'm right in the middle of it all here on the apron, and my favorite thing about Keeneland is the vibe. You have fans of all ages that are here for the races. Yes, you have a great party atmosphere, you have great food, but you also have spectacular racing, and you really see that from the young fans, college age, college scholarship day here at Keeneland today as well, and those that have been around racing for a long time, and it's just fantastic to see. And as that flood of people comes out on the apron as we get closer to the next race, it's really just an amazing sight, and it makes you really excited to feel a group of people and how horses can take us on such a journey in such a short amount of time. But talking about the food, I have been here for less than 24 hours. I have not yet had my Keeneland bread pudding. It's on my bucket list and something that I always look forward to when coming here to Keeneland. Not something I get to do very often, so thrilled to be here this weekend, guys.
Acacia, oh, look at all that food. What is this? What is this? Oh, well, we're going to be here hanging out. Actually, I'm not going to hang out. I'm going to go get in line in one of these lines because there is a pick 6 carryover at Aqueduct. And although I'm here, I will still be participating in that pick 6 carryover, $138,000. That pool is going to continue to grow. And I'd imagine that Andy and Todd are going to give you some help on the other side of this break. Make sure you fire up that Naira Bets account. The pick 6 carryover is coming up next.
What a Friday here on America's Day at the Races. Thanks for joining us on Fox Sports 2. And from Aqueduct, I'm Todd Trupp with Andy Serling. And this is a race a lot of horse players around the country are going to focus on. Race 3 at Aqueduct because it starts the pick 6 with the carryover of $138,225 and the pool already approaching $250,000. So, Andy, that is my question to you. Where do you think ultimately this pool ends up? We're almost at $250,000. By the time all the wagering's in, what is this pick 6 pool?
I would imagine it's going to be 3.5 to 4 times the carryover. It's roughly $140,000, so you're putting it in the $500,000 new money today. Right now, as you said, $216,000. So I think we'll get up to a total pool of over $600,000. We'll see where it lands. It's a manageable sequence,
yes,
but it's not as easy as it may look. I mean, I think a lot of people are looking at Elegant here, who becomes the controlling speed. They looked at last race, how well Speed did in that race. Big favorite in the first, but that horse wired as well. So that may encourage people to single Elegant. I like the 3 Edistrudis, but I can understand why people will lean on the 6 in this race. The next race, the 3 horses taking money are the 1 Diamond Life, the 5 Luff Corain, and the 7 Solutions. I prefer Luff Corain. They're the 3 that are going to dominate the wagering. I think the morning line favorite was Galileo, who scratched, so that changed things a lot. The 1 and 7 will take a lot of the play. It's hard to really trust any of those horses, to be honest with you. Race number 5, I would lean on the 5 and 6, Wine Gold and So Spirited. I prefer So Spirited, and if somebody wanted to say, give me 2 horses to lean heavily on, I'm not big on singling, but if you're betting limited money, you're looking to single, that's the horse I would lean on at the very least. She did finish behind, or he did behind Wine Gold, but he was coming off a year layoff. They look like the right 2. You want a bomb in there. I think Charlie Charmer's a little bit interesting against the track in his 1 dry dirt race and his 1 wet track race you can throw out.
Looking ahead to race number 6, I was listening to you talking horses to set up the day, and you were talking about Wesley Ward in New York. He is the trainer of our favorite in here at 9 to 5. Is this a horse that a lot of people will be singling Wonder Mist?
You know, I think a lot of people will, especially with limited bankrolls. I think Wonder Mist is a horse that the 1 dirt race is fast enough to win this race. Been kind of clouded up by running on turf and synthetic, as you know, with Wesley. He's not afraid to run on any surface at any time, but when he ships to New York, as he did with this horse, and he broke his maiden, he beat a good horse, Pretty Boy Maya, who ran a huge race here the other day. He's going to be tough. I think the Toy Cannon will take a lot of money, especially if people think the track is a little bit speedy, because he does look like the main speed.
Looking to the next to last race in the pick 6 sequence, race number 7, I asked you at the beginning of the day about this pick 6. Where's the separator race? You said it's later, mainly looking at the last race, race 8, but I thought race 7 was a difficult race.
I completely agree with that. It's a race that took me a long time to decide who to bet. I understand the love for Marlowe in here, the number 7, but it is a horse that's got to bring form from out of town, and I think people are reticent about leaning too heavily on a horse that has no New York form to go on for a trainer that really doesn't run here very often, just 0 for 6 over the last 5 years with big-priced horses. This is the most logical horse ever run. I like the 2 Purpose, but I could see using the 1 Scarlet Stream, Purpose, the 7 Marlowe, even the 8 AP Slingshot ran well last time. This is an open race, and I think the last race as well, Todd.
Yeah, the last race is a very good maiden special race going a mile, and I think most players will be, okay, do I take the Chad Brown firster or the Chad Brown second time out? You think that would be a mistake? You think there are a lot of other options in this race?
Well, I like the 7 Resolute Will, who I think will benefit from that debut and run better and run fast enough, but I'm not going to be surprised if either Linda Ricehorse, the 4 Stream It, or the 8 Fight for Allegiance, both of those horses can win in here. I don't love Felonious or Dr. Sinatra, the 1 and 2, but they're not impossible. I think the firster Bishop Booming is dangerous. I prefer Resolute Will, but I don't think there is a major separator if you look at the figs between as many as 6 horses in this race.
Okay, let me ask about a 15-1 long shot in there, Into the Light. Gelded since the last start, also getting the blinkers on. Does that horse deserve a long shot look?
Well, he's got $1 million pedigree, and I think that's why you're looking at him a little bit as a new gelding. He's just a nothing. And this is a race where there's too many decent horses for him to pass, but who knows?
For race number 8 to matter, you got to get out of race number 3. That's the start of the pick 6. You can see where the pool is at. We've officially passed that $250,000 mark. Post parade underway here for race 3, 6 furlong, beaten claiming condition for fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and upward, and that claiming price $17,500. We're already up to the 3 And this horse sitting up on the board right now at 5-2.
I like Edistrudis, so I think comes out of a much tougher race than this. I like the drop down. But I think a key to this race is when we pass the 1 Moongate, how much speed does she show?
Scratch the 4 Principia. You see one of the longest shots in the field of the 5 Moonlit Weekend. But as you said, it appears this race does go through the 6-5 favorite. This horse, the 6, Elegant.
She's the horse to catch on the front end, whether you like her or not. And I think it'll be interesting to see with the 4 scratching. Christopher Elliott has got to be aggressive with Moongate out of the on the rail, and he is an aggressive rider. But Elegant may be faster. She should clear the front. I just don't trust her. She drops down again, but she is the horse to beat.
Okay, so we talk a lot about this may be a tough trainer to claim off of, and then you look at trainers sometimes who are great off the claim, and then it takes them a while with a few starts. We kind of got back-to-back examples of that here. So Linda Rice claims Elegant, but it takes a while for this horse to get that first win for the new barn. And then you have Moongate being claimed off of Linda Rice. What do you make of both those circumstances?
Well, I think with Elegant, she just wasn't a great claim by Linda. And I think Linda would admit that to you. You know, she's had her for a while. And yeah, you're going to make some good ones and a lot of bad ones. It's horse racing. We bet on a lot of bad horses, and occasionally we hope we bet on some good horses. But she's dropping down to 17-5. I think that Linda's just, she wins a lot of races. Like any trainer wins a lot of races. Does it because they run their horses in the right spots. And
True.
Tom would tell you that, too. And Tom certainly won more than his share of races. With Moongate, this wasn't her horse, right? She only had this horse for a couple of starts. And even though she ran second in both those races, she was short prices. I think Moongate's better going shorter. Linda's feeling might have been, well, as a speed, maybe she can establish the lead in those races. They were competitive races up front, and I wonder if it dulls her speed too much to be competitive with Elegant early.
Samantha Perry has been watching the field since they arrived in the paddock and through the warm-up here. Samantha, who's looking best?
Well, I do like the number 1 Moongate, and I agreed to what Andy was talking about with Chris Elliott, who's going for his daily double, a riding double here. He's got to be aggressive from the gate with this gal because you don't want to let the 6 get the jump on you here because the 6 is very speedy and probably speedier than the 1 when it all shapes up. But I do think if the 1 can get out of the gate and it be very aggressively ridden, she should just, I would hope, hang on here. The 17-5 race she was exiting, I thought she was a beaten favorite that day, but I thought it was a pretty nice effort. And I just want to see a lot of aggressiveness, maybe some quarter horse style from the gate there. Now the 6, Elegant, yes, the mare to beat. Her race back on January 2nd, it was possibly a strong bias towards the speed that day that she won, and I wonder how much I kind of trust that race. Now, she did go to the bench after that, so obviously something went awry there. Now, do they have her back on the right track is the question, or is she going back in the wrong direction? And the number 3, looking at her physically, this 5-year-old mare, she just has very flat feet, and you look at her last win, it was in the mud at Oaklawn last year, and her form across a muddy track is just a little bit better than a dry track. And looking at her physically, you can just tell by that. So to me, to kick off this pick 6 carryover, I'm going to fade the 3 and lean on the 1 and the 6 here, guys.
Okay, so your advice on a pick 6 like this, I looked at the entire sequence and I thought, okay, you could play a $480 ticket, but I don't think you have a distinct advantage over someone playing a $48 ticket. It's that type of sequence. So when you have 2 horses, as Samantha just said, should you just make the choice between the 2 and make the ticket cut in half?
Well, I think it depends on your philosophy in playing these. And I always advocate for people that are putting limited amounts of money to be able to get involved with 2 or 3 friends, because I'd rather have 25% of a winning ticket than 100% of a losing ticket. And you can't just play these things small over time and expect to win. And I like the idea of multiple tickets, because if you play multiple tickets, it gives you the opportunity to be wrong somewhere and be right everywhere else and still cash, and that's where you want to be. I think that the horses that will take the bulk of the play here are the 6 and the 1 or the 3. For me, I would use the 3 and 6 in this race if I was using just 2 horses, and I like the 3, Edistrudis, whose name I don't want to say ever again.
That rolls off the tongue. For 2 days, they have installed the pick 6 here at Aqueduct. A pool approaching $450,000. It starts in the 3rd.
Elegant broke very sharply and comfortable towards the outside, will cross over easily. It's all Elegant in the early stages. Now running up on heels is Moongate. Couldn't move on through, is going to switch towards the outside. Christopher Elliott looks over his right shoulder and sees Moonlit Weekend right there in the 3 path. That's the top trio. Calling an Audible is now in 4th, and the trailer shoved along is Edistrudis by Kochakaya at the back end of the field. 22.67, that opening quarter mile. Elegant takes him into the turn. Elegant moving right along. Moongate continues to give chase here from second. Calling it audible. His work towards the inside has taken third. Moonlit Weekend still right there in fourth. And Eddie Strudis has double digits to make up. In hand, it's Elegant, who's approaching a quarter mile left to go, and a confident Manny Franco at the top of the stretch. Elegant now encouraged to put this race away. It's Elegant who sprints clears up by 2.5, 3 widening lengths, calling in audibles, rallying on towards the inside of Moongate, and also on the grandstand side, it's Moonlit Weekend, but they're approaching the final 16th. Elegant is still well clear. It's going to be Elegant geared down to win this one easily and kick off the pick 6. Linda Rice with another one. Elegant wins it, calling an audible. Then came Moongate in 1 minute 11.15 seconds.
It's the even money favorite Elegant to take the first race in the pick 6 sequence, and through 3 races, Manny Franco has 2 wins.
Yeah, it got to the front. There was really no effort to be aggressive with Moongate. In fact, he sort of steadied behind her there, not that it really mattered, and Elegant got the job done easily. I understand people might look at this and say, boy, you can't beat speed today. I'm going to see a lot more than a couple of short-priced horses winning, because we have seen horses make at least some runs from behind. So I'm not ready to call this a big speed track, but we have seen speed do very well so far in today's card.
And you're doing really well predicting what the pick 6 pool would end up at. New money bet in, $387,318. So we end up at about $525 for the gross pool. And that's gross in mathematical terms.
I will tell you something from that perspective. If you bet this pick 6, you have enormous equity with less than a third of the carryover pool significantly being bet. So if you play this pick 6, it was a smart play.
We'll come back with prices from the 3rd at Aqueduct, but getting close to post time down at Oaklawn Park. 2 minutes until race number 2. Once again, Maggie Wolfendale.
Thanks, Todd. And yes, it does feel like a lot of people still alive in that pick 6 carryover at Aqueduct. But here at Oaklawn, we have race 2 coming up, and we see number 7 as your favorite. That is Underhill's Tab with that drop in class. But let's talk about number 10, My Liam, as he will make his, technically speaking, his first start for Kenan LaRose, longtime assistant for the now retired Tom Amoss. He just does TV work now, guys.
Well, he's very good at that as well.
No, he's excellent.
But you know what's interesting? Like some people, I think, will see, well, he won for claiming 5 at Fairgrounds. Well, that's the bottom at the Fairgrounds, where this race is the bottom here at Oaklawn. So for me, that's more of a lateral move than it is a move up in class.
Yep.
I think he's in very good form. Kenan looking for his first win, taking over for his mentor, Tom Amoss. And I love the way this horse framed up on the racetrack, Maggie.
And Kenan's had several horses run well for him. I'm sure that win will be coming up soon. But Meg, you and Meg both land on number 10, My Liam.
Yeah, and I agree with Mag as far as the Meg. Wow, a lot of M's going on today, guys. But with the number 10, My Liam, I agree with Meg as far as he looked fantastic here in this spot, and as far as the lateral move, he's proven at this distance, where there are some turnback questions with others in this spot. And he was kept with the pony. He was incredibly sharp on track. He was very laid back in the paddock, as this is his Oaklawn Park debut. Lots of lower level horses, sometimes the antics can play out, but he was cool, calm, and collected. And I find that he's got rateable speed. Now, the inside runner, we'll see if that horse uses his typical speed, but if he does it, he could get the right kind of trip, as I find he will trip out in good order in this spot. But the number 2, Big Commerce, has always been a good looker and has continued to steadily drop in class as he does now. Now, this is a turn back angle. First time at this 6 furlong distance, and he kind of dueled with the front end last time out. And that horse ended up actually last that day, and they set a slower pace last time out, and then he was able to hold off the late charge at the mile. But I find, going through his form, this could be the right spot as far as cutting him back. Now, he's got some size to him. He's got a beautiful pedigree. His dam was actually grade 3 placed router, so he's always been just strong, strapping kind of individual that you have to appreciate. And you're fetching an incredibly fair price on him, up there at 9-2 with some tactical speed as well. But another horse kind of vying for favoritism. Now your current favorite, 9-5, the 7 Underhill's Tab. Now he's taking a pretty precipitous drop in class, coming off that second place effort last time out. He also gets the cutback. And you have to gauge with these horses, while I appreciate a turn back angle, is it what they really want to do? But he does have a win at this distance all the way back. And I will say, you know, he's got the most consistency, he's got the form, but I went ahead and just went against him in this spot. Now he's another one that's going to be forwardly placed on the front end, and I just had my doubts about him. He has kind of steadily improved, as I didn't find he was 100% fit when I first kind of saw him in December, and his races have benefited him, but I chose to opt against him there with the outside runner, Mag.
And Meg, he's one that's also turning back in distance here, Meg. We'll see how he adapts to the 6 furlongs, number 7, Underhill's Tab. But let's go back to number 2, Big Commerce, as we'll take a look here at his last victory back on March 21st. You know, Meg, early on he was kind of running with his mouth open, and I think that was a factor, a product of the pace being slow, but it's almost like he wanted to run that way.
No, yeah, I agree, right? With the bit kind of up in his mouth, you know, which now turning back to a sprint, you usually don't get that opportunity to kind of run into the bridle as much. I thought this was a very game effort. I also wonder, Maggie, sometimes when a horse has never run this short a distance, was there reasoning behind it? Did they just never show the kind of speed that would give them confidence to try it?
And to do it off the back of a win, I thought was interesting too. Now, here at Oaklawn, you know, it's that kind of short mile, if you will. It's not a one-turn mile, but it's a short mile, and you have to be moving early. Do you find horses respond better when turning back from that flat mile to the 6?
Well, I think it's a really good question, because they do kind of have to start a little earlier because they end at the 16th pole. Again, I just can't get past the fact that this horse has run 21 times and they've never sprinted him.
I agree with you, as both Mig and Meg going with number 10, My Liam. Will Kenan LaRose get his first win as listed trainer? Matt Dinnerman has your call of race 2 from Oaklawn.
We're ready to go. And we're off. Uneventful beginning. My Liam, the gray horse, showing the most speed today from Premium. Mumayaz outside as they head down the back stretch. Black, white, and gold in the meantime had to slam on the brakes at the back of the pack. Was in tight drops to the back. My Liam coming back to the lead. He's up top by a length and 3/4 now. Mumayaz second with Premium, who's in third. Raccarino next. To the inside is Flipping Fish. They're 4 clear of Big Commerce, sent along with a half mile to go. Leah Meebe is next in the group. Underhill's Tab, Fire Brian. They're well behind, rounding the turn. Black, white, and gold. He's past Swift as I Am, who's the trailer. Around the far turn they dash. My Liam, Ramon Vasquez, 3 furlongs to go. Length and a tail ahead. Mumayaz right behind on his tail second. Premium third down on the fences, 3 behind hitting the quarter paw. Raccarino under pressure, and so is Big Commerce, who's getting outside for the stretch drive, has to pick it up as they come down the lane. My Liam in front. Mumayaz right up alongside. Now under the left-handed encouragement, grabs the lead. Big Commerce is trying to rally on. He's finding his best stride now. Big Commerce, here he comes. Big Commerce on the outside of Mumayaz coming to the 16th pole. It's Big Commerce soaring by Mumayaz in the final 100 yards, and Big Commerce drives off late to win. Mumayaz holds second, My Liam third, Underhill's Tab fourth.
Big Commerce responds beautifully to the turn back in distance. Some fast fractions set out there by My Liam, but it's not like the pace totally came apart here, Meg. It just feels like Big Commerce is in very good form.
I agree with you. He's in very good form, because Mumayez, who was attending the pace set by My Liam, he hung on very gamely, just second best to Big Commerce, who came rolling down the middle of the track. And when you see a horse within 3 or 4 lengths with momentum that's turning back in distance, you know that they're going to continue to roll forward. And maybe this is what this horse always wanted. First time they tried sprinting him.
I know, right? Ashford gets the win. It's 2:11, 10-7 unofficially here at Oaklawn for the second race. Rafael Bejarano in the irons for Tom Durant as we get it back up to New York. And there is Elegant making her way into the winner's circle, Todd.
Maggie, a familiar scene here, Winning Moves stable with trainer Linda Rice and Manny Franco, now his second win on the day. And you mentioned 2 horses who could get to the lead. Elegant, you wondered if Moongate was going to pressure. That never happened.
Christopher Elliott is an aggressive rider. I mean, to be fair, she's not as fast as Elegant. Elegant's just a faster horse, so he tried to sit in second. She's not that good. She couldn't chase, and Elegant was much the best at even money. Another easy winner. It'll be interesting to see how things play out going forward because we have seen speed dominate. I'm not convinced, though, that we are dealing with a bias because we haven't had a bias here in quite a while, and I think we've seen some pretty logical winners.
Congratulations to Connections of Elegant, owned by Winning Moves Stable, trained by Linda Rice. As mentioned, Manny Franco aboard a bay mare by Omaha Beach out of the Pulpit Mare Lovely, was bred by Peter Bloom Thoroughbreds in the Commonwealth of Kentucky. Can we have the existential conversation, or some would call it an adult conversation?
I don't think you and I can have an adult conversation.
While we were away
Go with that
at Oaklawn Park, you were talking about the equity in this pick six pool. You kind of did some numbers and looked at the equity. So, in other words, you're trying to determine, did someone bet into the right pool today with the carryover? Are they getting a fair return? What was your conclusion?
No question. I mean, obviously with takeout, there is not equity in betting horses. If they're taking out a blended takeout of 20%, you're getting 80 cents back on every dollar you bet. When you have a pick six carryover, that's going to mitigate the takeout. Takeout's 24% in the pick six. Quarter of that pool after that goes to the pick fives, but it's still the pool. So if you take the money bet today, the you gave me the numbers, $87,318, you multiply that by 76%, you add in the carryover, then you divide it by the money bet today, and you get $1.11.7 cents. So for every dollar you bet in that pick six, your actual equity is just almost 12 cents over the dollar. You got that?
Actually, you're right. I just did that right.
Every dollar you bet, you got $1.12 back, so you've got big equity.
So how long does it take you to figure out the tip in a restaurant on the check? Do you just go to the bottom where they tell you what to tip, depending on the percentage, or do you? And let me ask you, do you include tax?
Yes.
Yeah, you have
I
to.
tip a lot.
You have to be.
I believe in over-tipping. I think it's important to over-tip.
Andy Serling, he's good at math. Nitrogen, she's good at just about anything. She can win a grade 1 on the turf. She can win a grade 1 on the dirt. But she didn't win her first start of the year. That could change this weekend at Oaklawn Park, and we will talk more when we return after this.
They're coming down for the finish, and it is Silver State.
10-25, 10-25, at 25-35, 335,000.
Grade 1 winner Silver State, standing at Claiborne Farm.
Oaklawn Hot Springs is here for when you need to break away, when you want to reward yourself, when you deserve to indulge, when you want to be close to the action. It's all here. So what are you waiting for? Live racing returns with the classic racing season. So plan your stay at Oaklawn Hot Springs and come join the fun.
He looked like a horse that breeders would love. He's just a perfect silhouette of a horse.
Citizen Bull, his speed is his weapon.
Citizen Bull in gate-to-wire fashion.
When the real running starts,
And he kicks away.
you need that brilliance. You need that speed to carry you on.
Citizen Bull to win.
To me, the best sires are the miler. I want a sire that's a miler.
Citizen Bull leads them all the way.
He's a colt with every single ingredient you want in a stallion prospect.
Announcing the Empire Trillium Series, a multi-year $3.2 million 14-race program at the brand new Belmont Park and Woodbine Racetrack, restricted to New York or Canadian foaled horses. This new event kicks off the day after Christmas with 4 two-year-old stakes races on Belmont's new Tapeta surface and continues all spring and summer through late July at Woodbine. The Empire Trillium Series. To learn more and enroll either New York or Canadian breds, go to NYRA.com/EMPTRI.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. RTN has packages that start at $5 per month.
Live racing coverage from Oaklawn Park, Aqueduct, and a little taste of Keeneland here on America's Day at the Races on FS2. And all of that is proudly brought to you by OBS Sales, where the 2-year-old in training sale April 14th to 17th in Ocala. I know a lot of horsemen are already down there watching the Breeze Show as number 2, Big Commerce, makes his way into the winner's circle. Turn back in distance for Ray Ashford did the trick. Gets his 2nd win in a row with Rafael Bejarano in the irons.
He was able to kind of ease himself towards the outside from that number 2 post position. Rafael Bejarano has really quietly put together a very nice meet here, Maggie, and he just kept coming with those relentless strides. And when you are turning back in distance, you expect to be able to finish from that position. Worked out a real good trip. Really nice effort by Big Commerce.
Yeah, you mentioned how good of a meet he's having. I mean, hitting at 16% for a rider, I think, is pretty solid enough. As Big Commerce, he was 5-1, returns 1360 over Mumayez. And my Liam, the favorite in their number 7 Underhill's Tab, would settle for 4th. Race number 3 coming up, a Arkansas bred claiming 12.5, non-2 for life, going to 5.5 furlongs, and we see dueling 5-2 shots on the outside. Speed with number 10, More Power, and maybe a bit of a late close for number 9, Clear Echo for Shea Stewart.
Yeah, definitely varying styles here, but both dropping in class. Although I think with More Power, it's less of a drop in class because he broke his maiden for 20. And my rule of thumb with that is they're usually worth about half of what they break their maiden for in the maiden claiming level, unless they're a first-time starter that they, happen to get over on everybody and we were able to drop their horse in for a tag. But if a horse has been running consistently at that level, when they break their maiden for 20, rule of thumb, they're worth about half that.
I could not agree more as, we're here for some great racing, some great weather, but the real main event, of course, is the ABR Race of the Week. It is the Grade 1 Apple Blossom, where we will see a champion try to get back to the winner's circle. Last year's 3-year-old champion, Nitrogen, will break from the rail. She's installed as a 9-5 morning line favorite, but she was upset in the start. After this, of course, the Bayakoa would be her return to the races as a 4-year-old, and she would trounce this field, Meg.
She would, but I wonder if that maybe led to some regression in the Azeri, because Mark Casse publicly stated that he thought she was about 80% fit, that she was just doing so good they felt like they had to run her. And then she delivered one of the most powerful performances of her life from a figure standpoint. Did jump back to her left lead the last 16th of a mile. And I think horses react more when they run this big, not being 100% fit. And I think that led to some regression.
I thought that was possibly one factor that led to the disappointment in the subsequent start. But as you look, this is what champions are made of. Earnings of over $2.2 million, as you heard Todd say before the break. She can handle herself on turf and dirt. And she has been ridden by Jose Ortiz in every start of her career, I believe, as she has 7 wins out of 14 starts. Now, like you said, she could have reacted negatively to the big performance coming back off the bench, but also, Meg, it was a sloppy racetrack. And as we well know, no 2 sloppy racetracks or wet tracks are the same. And furthermore, you look at her wonder again. Okay, people see the 17-length win, but it was one of her slowest races on dirt, and she ran the same figure coming back in this Azeri.
Well, that day in the Wonder again, she was taking on rivals that were meant for the turf.
And it was only two of them.
Right, and she has the rare ability to transfer her form on either surface, and that is a very rare ability, and that's one of the things I think has made her so popular. I will say, though, we should not sleep on the winner or the runner-up here in the Azeri, in Majestic Oops and Regaled. There's speed in this race, and it's going to aid their cause because they are more closing types.
Majestic Oops, the Cal-bred 6-year-old mare. She may be small, but she is mighty when it comes to heart, and Dan Ward is her trainer. She's very astute at this mile and 16th distance. Heck, she can handle almost any distance. As for that Azeri win, she won at 6 furlongs in the American Beauty. But Meg, you also mentioned Regaled. She is the late closer. Could this possible pace scenario suit her the best of anybody.
Well, I think so. I mean, because there is speed side on here. You've got a couple horses, start on the stretch out. Claret Barrett or Beret is, got speed. So does Mark Cassie's other filly. How do you pronounce that? Nurzani?
Nerazuri.
I want to say
what
like
I'll go with.
Linguini, but no. But I mean, she has speed as well.
I know.
So I do think there's a lot of speed signed on. Listen, I've watched Nitrogen train here since the last start. She has really kind of turned a corner, though. She looks like a bear in the morning. So I think you're going to see the best version of Nitrogen.
Third start off the layoff will be the Grade 1 Apple Blossom. It is coming up tomorrow with coverage on Fox Sports 1 and $1.25 million in the purse. But coming up after the break here on America's Day at the Races, we'll head back to Aqueduct and check out the start of the late pick 5.
The races you're watching here on America's Day at the Races, brought to you by legendary Claiborne Farm. Doing the usual, unusually well. One of the first tours I ever took in the Commonwealth of Kentucky was at Claiborne Farm, and everywhere I went, I got goosebumps.
I'm with you. First farm I went to when I went there in '94 for the first time, and especially back then, I believe it was still there. Seeking the Gold was there. 49er was there.
I got to see Danzig. Yeah.
Yep. No, it really is. You ever go to the private cemetery?
So like, that I didn't get to do.
It's like a hall of fame of great horses.
Yeah, if you get a chance to visit the Commonwealth, set up your farm tour. But we thank Claiborne Farm for sponsoring our coverage today here on America's Day at the Races. I'm Todd Trupp with Andy Serling live at Aqueduct. We got a call for riders up here in race number 4. We have a scratch of the 3 Guaililo, who was 9-5 in the morning line. As far as favoritism, that's kind of going back and forth between 2 horses, the 1 Diamond Life and the 7 Solutions.
Yeah, I mean, this is another one of those races where trust is at a premium, right? I mean, you've got Diamond Life, who second off a layoff, drops precipitously in class, has never run that fast, but the race 2 back is contentious. Solutions, the one who ran a maiden special weight in the debut last May and ran a race that would win this race, but how do you trust this horse off a long layoff, dropping precipitously?
And then you throw in the steam on the first-time starter to the Brown Egg, bet down from 15 to 1 in the morning line to 7 to 2 currently, and that's the horse we're going to look at right now in the post-parade.
Are they betting because Delilah Rivera won a long shot firster for David Donk yesterday? This horse did not take money in the multi-race bets, but is bet right now.
And after the scratch of the 3 in our post-parade, there is the longest shot in the field at 15 to 1, Midnight Masumi. Here's the 5, and this horse sitting up on the board right now at 7 to 2.
I like Left Corain in this race. I think this horse is interesting. The race 3 back's good enough. The horse was against the track on a dead rail last time, and I think Left Corain is okay.
Trapping Hands, our second longest shot in the field, dropping to the lowest level so far in this horse's career.
Another possible pick 6 buster for a lot of people that's tough to make on paper.
Honk for Donk. We mentioned yesterday he had back-to-back wins. He has got a very logical horse here in Solutions with a huge drop in class.
Right. I mean, 7.5 layoff or not, you've got a significant drop in class. For a horse whose first race was very good, the last race obviously bad. The horse was eased and been out and dropping. They're negative signs. The other thing about this horse is he's got a little turf pedigree. Dave tried this horse in the turf once, and that was not as bad a race as it looked. And Dave is dropping this horse right before turf season starts. There's some negatives on a horse who can clearly win.
That is your live post-parade as the field goes out to warm up. Let's talk more about the 1 Diamond Life and take a look at a previous race for Diamond Life. And we are going to go back 2 starts ago. Why? Because the most recent race was terrible. So let's go back 2 starts ago, October 17th, race 2, Belmont at Aqueduct meet. And for State Bred Maiden 50, I mean, if this race is repeated, doesn't this horse beat this 16,000, well, 12-5 claiming group?
Not if the 5 runs the best race.
Okay.
Not if the 7 runs their best race. And I will excuse the last race. This horse was wide against the gold rail. In fact, I would argue that despite losing by 18 lengths last time, he ran every bit as well, if not better than he did in his race 2 back. So I can make a legit excuse for that, and it is a precipitous drop down. I would prefer this horse to the 7. I think this horse is dirtied up and is much less unreliable than the 7 Solutions.
Okay, so between the 2 favorites, you are saying the 7 Solutions would be the choice there, but you're not going
the
with
1 would be.
Okay.
Of the 2 favorites. Yeah.
But you're not taking either of these horses.
Left Corain ran okay with a not especially good ride 3 back. Last 2 back did not run well, but last time was down in a dead rail that day, and I think that Left Corain is the best alternative to the 2 chalks.
Let's check in with Samantha Perry.
Evan is really who I'm looking towards here, who got a fantastic warm-up, just broke right away from the pony, and he immediately jumped into the bridle, which was great to see. A horse that's showing a lot of good energy out here on the track, so I'm very happy with the warm-up so far, and I like the return to stay, well, staying on the main track at least. I know that we kind of talked a little bit on Talking Horses about this horse being on the grass, who kind of ran maybe an undercover sneaky race, but he just is a bit on the heavier side, and as you can see, he's pretty muscly, and he looks good. I mean, he's showing so much energy, which is great to see. And he's actually pretty fit too. You wonder off of a late August layoff how fit they're going to be, and the fitness is really there, at least for a 5-year-old. He does carry a little bit of that kind of coltish weight, but in a good way, which is at least nice to see. Now, the 1 Diamond Life, adding blinkers on the rail for the first time is not very easy. Horses that load in the 1 post, they stand longer than everybody else. Now he only has 5 other horses that have to load next to him, so that kind of helps a little bit. But when you tend to add blinkers, horses will kind of hesitate a little bit at the start, and that's what I worry about him. I don't know if it's going to be a there off you lose situation, but this horse seems to do his best running up front. And another thing I want to note, that it's kind of a small knock on him. He is a 3-year-old facing older horses, and that can be a tough ask this time of year here as well. So the 7 for me, the 2's taking a little bit of money, took a little bit of money early. I know in the multi-race wagers was not. I don't see it here. Another 3-year-old. I do like the fact that he is a gelding coming in to his debut here, but just kind of very small in size here. Maybe goes to the lead a bit and fades away. I don't see the maybe him kind of just lasting very long in the race just as a whole. The 7 for me, though, to kick off the late pick 5.
Thank you very much, Samantha. I want to go back to something she was talking about with the blinkers on the 1 Diamond Life, because she talked to you about that and Talking Horses earlier today. And both of you were kind of harsh on blinkers on as an equipment change.
Well, it's not. If I'm going to go for a blinker change, I like blinkers off more.
Okay.
It just seems to be a better angle. But what Sam was saying, and I agree with her, when we were talking about earlier, is it's usually a desperation move. It's not always, but you take a maiden that's had a bunch of starts and the trainer's throwing on blinkers, they're just getting a little desperate. They're trying to figure out what to do with the horse. And her point is, a lot of people make a lot out of these blinker changes, and there really isn't that much science behind it. I'm not saying it's always the case.
If I'm going to put a trainer out there as an example of what you're talking about, you didn't see the late Bobby Frankel, one of the greatest to ever train in American racing, put blinkers on a horse very often. You didn't see that change very
Well, there you go. And I think if you were interview a lot of trainers, they're not pretending. I think they would agree with that. I think a lot of them are saying, I'm searching here. I'm trying to figure something out. I can't get this horse to win. I'm trying to find a way to do something different to get them to win. And so I think a lot of times people think these things are said by analysts as criticisms. They're not criticisms at all.
Yeah.
I mean, Todd Pletcher, will do it a lot out of desperation. He doesn't need to apologize to anybody. The guy's one of the greatest trainers in the history of the game with a success record to boast. Just because he's doing something out of some desperation, that's what you do sometimes, the trainer. You're trying to figure something out.
Well, maybe that's where they get upset, the use of the word desperation. Desperado.
I don't know. Aren't we all a little desperate at times at the racetrack? I mean, you've been around a racetrack a long time.
Maybe save that word for serious life situations. It's just the blinkers on. It's not desperation, because then I picture the trainer with beads of sweat on their forehead. They're desperate.
I don't think that those trainers are sweating too much about their lower level trainers, but I could be wrong.
It is a maiden 12.5 unless you are a New York bred. It's 16,000 here. Our favorite is the 7 Solutions. Huge drop in class, but it all makes sense. He's 5. He didn't get to the races until his 4-year-old season. David Donk is part owner, so you can justify this drop in class.
Somebody wants to take him for 12.5, Dave will be okay. But it is a big drop, and he's 6-5. And I think it's one thing if you're a bigger price. When you're a short price, you have to talk about everything, particularly look at the negatives. We know what the positives are with this horse.
It's the start of the late pick 5, the second race in the pick 6 today with that big carryover and a pool of over $500,000 in total. Race number 4 at Aqueduct, live on America's Day at the Races. Here's Chris Griffin with the last of the load and then the call.
Solution steps forward, all set. And they're off. Broken an even line and speed towards the inside from Diamond Life, but they are tightly packed. Everyone wants a piece of the front. The only one that had to steady out of there was Midnight Musume, who's now the trailer. Solutions from the far outside. Sahin Savachi's been in the clear and now puts a head in front of Diamond Life, who wants to contest that lead. Dropping off of that early pace is Trapping Hands, is now alone in third, is content to let the top 2 press on in a pace duel through a 22.75 opening quarter mile. Making up some ground, here comes Lock Karen, has now taken third and back to fourth. That's Trapping Hands. Midnight Musume is also trying to run on, and the trailer, the debuter, the Brown Egg. Solutions and Diamond Life, they continue to go at it, and Solutions is trying to put away Diamond Life as they approach a quarter mile left to go. Solutions is up by a length and a half, now 2 and sprints clear. Diamond Life has not given up the chase, also trying to run on. There's Jamie Rodriguez on Lock Curran, who is making up some ground, but Solution still a comfortable margin. Approaching the final 16th, Sahin Savachi forwardly placed, and Solutions. Donk had 2 yesterday, give him another one today. Solutions will win it. Lock Curran finished second, then came Trapping Hands and Diamond Life in 1 minute 11 and 4.
Solutions, the favorite, dominating here at even money in the 4th at Aqueduct.
Dave Donk on a rush. 3 wins in the last 2 days. The layoff, the drop down, showed speed. The one had speed, but Solution's able to dominate the field. The horse had the best races on paper and the best race today. I don't think this does a lot to say it was a big speed track, but who knows? We're not seeing horses pick up, but we're seeing another short price win.
Well, that's the thing. When you're trying to assess a track bias, you have to take into account the types of races and the types of horses who are winning. We're not looking here and going, how did this horse go gate to wire at 30-1? Must be the track that's helping that horse out. These were the logical horses going in, and they happen to be horses who like to be on or near the lead.
Right. There's nothing more complicated than a day where you feel like there may have been a bias, but the entire card was won by super logical horses. You don't want to get carried away. And a lot of times you can see a bias by a second place finisher that was 30-1 that way outran the odds running towards the bias you see. And I agree, you have to be very careful with biases. I know there's a perception, there's a lot of moronic perceptions out there about me. One of them is that I'm always looking for biases. Anybody that reads my track trends will see that I think the track is fair most of the time. Sometimes there are biases. I'm not saying there isn't one today. I still don't believe there's conclusive evidence, and I think what you said is part of the reason.
There's lots of moronic perceptions about me out there, and one of them is track biases. Can you name one other one that's out there that you want to dispel?
I'll
dispel it when we come back.
That I don't like you. That's a moronic
I like
perception.
that one. That's very good. Well, let's go down to Oaklawn Park, where there are not a lot of moronic misconceptions about that crew.
Well, there's one misconception, or that's not a misconception. Mitch always messes up throws, Todd. Be wary of that. Mitch, our director, because I had no idea what Todd was saying because he was talking in my ear. Anyway, Mig, we've got race number 3 on the track, and we do see 3-1 on number 9 on the outside. Clear Echo had some chances, has had lots of chances. He's 1 for 20, but he does get a bit of a drop in class here. He does get apprentice rider Amir Mendoza in the irons.
Yeah, so you're getting a 5-pound break in the weights, and I feel like Amir has really improved through this meet as well, which apprentices do. That's why they get a weight allowance. They're going to make mistakes, and trainers decide what's acceptable as far as getting that break in the weights. But I think he's very logical on the drop here, getting down to back to the lowest level, going way back, but more recently running for much tougher.
Yeah, this is Clear Echo, like you said, finishing second behind Hicko. Rallying for third, however, would be number 2. Is that Bote or Boat? For Lindsey Schultz here, a horse that you do have interest in, and he's up there at 5-1.
Yeah, I thought this horse kind of fit right in the frame. He was only 3/4 of a length off of Clear Echo, who is 3-1, and Bote is 5-1. I don't think a lot separates them. Do you?
No, I don't, especially, when you're getting a bit of a better price there. As we get to Meg, trackside, what are your thoughts on Boat?
Well, the number 2 Boat has been getting a really nice warm-up under Johan Rosado. Isn't taking quite as much money at 3-1 morning line now, kind of floating up a bit. And I get why, just looking at his last race. Now, the key, very key about this race, which I thought made it difficult, was the distance. It's 5.5 furlongs, and here at Oaklawn Park, speed kills. We've only had a handful of these kinds of races, and it always seems you want to be forward, you want to be a part of it early. But the number 2 Boat last time out, track just off of the pace, and he had come under a ride under Johan that day, and he was hustling him and just never catching the 3-5 favorite, and honestly didn't quite run as well as Clear Echo that day either. So I just question if this distance is perhaps too sharp for him. We'll see if he can perhaps have a little bit more finish, but I just wonder his finishing style just to me is a mismatch for this distance. But the number 9, Clear Echo, who again is taking the drop in class, very formidable in this group off of the second place performance, clearly dangerous, but again, he's never run at this distance. He's got tactical speed, which boded well last time out against many of the same faces. I just question this distance with this horse, and I wanted somebody to be a little bit more a part of the pace puzzle. Perhaps he will with Amir Mendoza aboard, and I'd give him all the credit for being a player in here. I just opted for different. But the number 10, More Power, another one dropping in class, getting to the 5.5 furlong distance for the first time. Seems to be a trend in this spot. Now, gets an aggressive rider, and Walter de la Cruz has the speed from the outside, which I enjoyed. Now, last time out, he dueled with that 3-5 favorite in the eventual winner that day, and now I find he's the candidate that I want cutting back to the 5.5 furlongs with his speed, with his style. And last time out in that non-winners of 2 lifetime, it's pretty tough to go from the maiden 20 that he did to that step up in class. That was pretty tough, and I thought he handled himself rather well, considering the trip that he got against a heavy favorite. So he was tacked on the walk. He's incredibly sharp, giving me every indication that he's going to continue to show that speed. But I thought he was enticing in this spot, but as we know, many of those looking to break through off of that March 14th race. Maggie?
Meg, I'm with you. And he looked to be kind of running off. Walter de la Cruz kind of lighting him up out of the gate, and then he wanted to run off, and he didn't have any finish going the 6th, as we are seeing. Just kidding. The numbers stopped flashing. There was a bit, they were taking a look at the 2nd and 3rd place finishers in the 4th race there at Aqueduct. It looks as though they are leaving it alone, as it is 7-5-6 still there at Aqueduct. But back here at Oaklawn, taking a look at the horse Meg was talking about, More Power. As you were saying, Walter de la Cruz is a rider that you can pretty much always count on to send.
You know, I think you really kind of got to get into the habit of not only handicapping your horses, which obviously the most important component, because I've never seen a jockey get off and carry the horse. But that being said, you also have to handicap riders and their styles a little bit. And one thing you can count on consistently is Walter de la Cruz is aggressive. He, you know, the way I term it, I think he'd rather be on the lead than eat ice cream.
I, however, would much rather eat ice cream.
Well, when the situation demands it.
Do love some ice cream. I've gotten pretty good at making my own ice cream, too.
Really?
Yeah. An ice cream maker.
Now, I'd be interested in that, even though I don't like sweets.
I can bring you a taste.
Okay.
You just let me know. As we do see horses heading into line for today's 3rd from Oaklawn Park. It does kick off at the 50-cent pick 5, races 3 through 7. Matt Dinnerman has the rest of the load and call here for race number 3.
More Power. They're going 5.5 furlongs here. Start of a middle pick 5, races 3 through 7. More Power's in. We're ready to go. Looks like Cool Under Fire now backed away. They're going to reload him. Cool Under Fire, a little stirred up in there. Ramon Vasquez is going to hop off here. Cool Under Fire. The 9 others waiting patiently in the gate. Cool Under Fire. They're going to try to load him without the jockey, and he went right in. We're ready. And they're off. Unbridled Zaire wins the break. I'm Fired Up off the maiden win is Quick, who under fire right behind him. Down on the inside, not far away. More Power far outside, making his way into 4th, and he's making a move towards the front, approaching the far turn run here. Then comes Get Out Your Wallet, Clear Echo, Boat, and Butch, who's down on the inside, has to tap on the brakes, drops back to the 3rd last spot. Castle Gap, Serpule at the back together. Into the turn they go. I'm Fired Up inside, short lead. Unbridled Zaire right there to the outside. More Power is 3rd, a length behind the top 2 who are right together. Cool Under Fire, shown more rain while pumped upon. He's 4th, 3 behind with Get Out Your Wallet and Clear Echo, who's sent upon. Boat is 5 lengths behind Under a Ride. The others well out of it as they swing off the turn. Unbridled Zaire goes to the lead. I'm Fired Up switches leads, but he's back in 2nd. Coming right back, though, from the inside. More Power 3rd. Clear Echo trying to get there far outside. Furlong to go. 4 runners across the track. Clear Echo on the grandstand side comes calling for the lead, grabs it, and starts to shake away late. Clear Echo, much the best under Amir Mendoza at 8-5, wins by 2.5. More Power just held off Boat for the 2nd spot. Get Out Your Wallet was 4th.
Clear Echo, the clear winner of today's 3rd race as the favorite here at Oaklawn Park. Shea Stewart, claim to fame stable. Amir Mendoza in the irons, and hey, a Meg Exacta.
Yeah, the 2
Well done.
outside. The outside flow got it done, right? And Clear Echo had a good trip. More Power, yeah, off maybe a step slow, kind of rushed up. A horse that you had pointed out to me after about a 16 mile, he grabs the bridle and kind of wants to run off a bit, right?
Yeah, he does. He looks like he's not the kindest in the mouth, you know?
Yeah.
You kind of light him up, and then he takes advantage of that, kind of held his head, cocked to the outside, I suppose. So he, I think, just got edged there. Or did he? Oh, did he finish second? It's such
No, he hung on for second.
Okay,
yeah,
it's
just
such a
did hang on
tough
for
angle
second.
here at Oaklawn, but no doubt about your winner. Number 9, Clear Echo, gets the win. Son of Raison d'Etat and Marquis bred here in today's third race as we get it back to New York. That is a maiden no longer in Solutions, getting his picture taken as we get it back to Todd and Andy.
Yeah, and Maggie, you got a no doubt about it winner down at Oaklawn Park. We've got one here in the 4th at Aqueduct. It is Solutions drawing away from this field.
We've basically seen easy wins in every race so far, with heavy favorites winning 3 of the 4 races so far in the day, and they've just dominated. They've been horses that are forwardly placed. And, the other thing about biases in dirt racing, you've got to be careful because, for the most part, speed is good on the dirt, So I think tracks will look like they're tilted for speed just because that's the way dirt racing plays for the most part.
Is there a misconception when it's a speed favoring track that goes hand in hand with fast times?
Yes, I agree. I don't think that just because the times are fast means speed is doing well, and I think it's a good point. Just like sometimes people perceive a speed track when it's actually a good rail, and it's because most of the time the horses on the rail are speed, but it doesn't always mean it's a speed track just because the rail is good.
Looking ahead to the midway point of the Pick 6, race number 5 coming up next is a 6-furlong maiden claiming event for 3-year-olds and upward. The maiden claiming price in here is $12,500 unless you're a New York bred. Then you're entered for $16,000. But something we haven't seen in the last couple races is a wide open tote board. Does the tote board reflect what you see on paper in here?
Yeah, I don't think it's surprising. I'm looking at multi-race bets. The 2, the 5, and the 6 are all taking a similar amount of play. Looking at the multis, I think the 2 and 5, 2 and 6 a little bit shorter. Not that surprising. The one other horse that right now taking some early money is the 4, Charlie Charmer, who's obviously a bad bet at 4-1, but also rates to go up from those odds as we get closer to post.
We'll talk more in depth about race number 5 at Aqueduct. We have some time, but when we come back, we're going to preview one of the big races on the card tomorrow at Oaklawn Park. Top sprinters going in the Count Fleet Sprint Handicap, and Tejano Twist is one of them. He loves Oaklawn. 6 for 17 lifetime. That's ahead on America's Day at the Races here on Fox Sports 2.
The sun shines bright on Carryover. His first crops of racing age are showing brilliance on the racetrack with a high percentage of stakes winners. His versatility is evidenced by winners on all surfaces across the globe.
It is all she feels pretty. Yet another grade 1 for this magnificent daughter of Carryover.
And his offspring are lighting up the sales ring.
$300,000, Emma, thank you.
Carryover, standing at Gainesway.
You bet with Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. Download the Naira Bets app to play today and get a $200 deposit bonus. Watch live horse racing. Get expert picks. Boost your bankroll with weekly promotions and hone your handicapping skills with exclusive tips and tutorials. Download the Naira Bets app now. Sign up now to claim your $200 deposit match bonus. You bet with Naira Bets. Join analysts Matthew DeSantis and Kaylee Shapiro on the road to the Kentucky Derby and Kentucky Oaks. Get picks and analysis for all the prep races and gain insight into promising contenders on the trail to the Derby and Oaks. That and more on the Naira Bets YouTube channel. The Belmont Stakes Racing Festival returns for the final time to historic Saratoga Racecourse. Don't miss the Belmont Festival at Saratoga. June 3rd through 7th. Secure your place in history at BelmontStakes.com.
The classic sire.
She's so spicy. She won it by 4 lengths on the wire. Side by side
He's got it won. It's an upset in Pegasus 10.
Welcome back to America's Day at the Races. We're proudly brought to you by Naira Bets. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime. And yes, I was present actually for the filming of this, Mig, but this is more like Acacia speed.
Ah, okay. But
she's a fast walker.
Yeah, she's got
She got long
stride.
legs.
Long stride.
I try to move fast, but my stride length is not quite as long.
My legs are too bowed.
Neither of us would be bought at the sale.
No.
To say the least, as we see today's third race winner in the winner's circle. That's number 9 in here. Clear Echo, second win of his career. This Arkansas bred by Raison d'Etat out of the high-yield mare, Wicked and Wacky Ingrid.
Yeah, say that 3 times
I
fast.
took that one on without preparation, I'm not going to lie.
But this was a nice effort. Just kind of dropping down to an appropriate spot. Amir Mendoza, like I said, an apprentice that I think has shown steady improvement over the winter. It takes young riders a little time to gain that experience, plus just the physical maturation that it takes to have the legs and the upper body strength you need to be a successful rider.
In your experience, what circuit has been, the most fruitful, the easiest, or the most successful, if you will, to break into as a young rider?
Well, for years, New York was the proving ground in the wintertime for, apprentices. And that's how I broke in, obviously winter in New York. And for years, they would embrace it. I think Steve Cawthon set that tone, right? You have somebody as brilliant as him as an apprentice. But, last year we had Tyler Bacon here, who, had a terrific meet. Amir Mendoza improving here. That's a great question. I think Florida still. They give a lot of apprentices, and Maryland, you know that.
Yeah, I was going to be totally biased and say Maryland.
No, but apprentices in Maryland for years. And, a lot of that has to do with there's such good horsemen and women in Maryland that understand the value of getting a break in the weights, and they give young people an opportunity. They give them a chance to learn.
And they truly appreciate people working and putting the hours in. Yeah. And so if you work horses in the morning, they're more than willing to give you that mount in the afternoon. As we'll take a look here at what's up next. It is race number 4 here at Oaklawn. 6 furlongs, maiden 20 here, and even money on the inside runner. No surprises there. Capital Connection for Steve Asmussen and Keith as well. 2 runner-up finishes off the claim, drops back down in for the 20 today.
Makes a lot of sense. He's got good speed from the inside. Keith really starting to ride extremely well. He had a tough injury. You break your, your pelvis. It just takes you a while as a rider to kind of break up all that adhesions and loosen everything up. But I'm seeing him really find his form right now.
We'll get more into this race after the break, and we'll also check out the Count Fleet. It's the other graded stakes on the card tomorrow here at Oaklawn, the Grade 3, as Roll On Big Joe. He looks for win number 11 in start number 24 and his 4th win in a row. The Big Gray taking on some big guns here at Oaklawn. Live coverage continues here on America's Day at the races of Oaklawn Park Aqueduct, as well as previewing our coverage from Keeneland tomorrow with the Lexington and Grade 1 Jenny Wiley. But we also have a graded stakes that's not called the Apple Blossom here at Oaklawn tomorrow. It is the Count Fleet Grade 3 for those venerable sprinters, at a great matchup between, actually, Tanner Twist is installed at 6-1. Not sure he'll be that, but we'll start by talking about him in the Whitmore. Last time out, Grade 3, that he won emphatically off the back of that allowance win. And Meg, I remember when I was here for that allowance win back on March 1st, I've never seen this horse look better, and he's translating that to the racetrack as well.
Oh, I agree. I think this horse just kind of found a form cycle and is riding the wave, if you will, right? I love closing sprinters, Maggie.
They're exciting. They're
I
really
really do.
exciting. And look, he's not moving at all. Francisco Arrieta, who will be back aboard, he just looked like a statue in the irons, and Chris Hartman saying that Francisco really gets along with him. And to think, this horse was actually claimed back in 2022 for $80,000 for the current connections, and he is well on his way, especially if he wins tomorrow, to becoming a $2 million earner.
Yeah, over 1.9 in earnings, and he's going to get a lot of speed to run at again. I'm a fan.
I'm a fan too, but standing in his way possibly on the front end is Roll-On Big Joe, who would win and beat him in the start before in the King Cotton, using his speed to his advantage. He goes out for Bob Hess as he ships back in here to Oaklawn. Julian Leperoux back in the irons.
You know, it was interesting, though. Roll-On Big Joe, Julian actually had a really strong hold of him and was, if you could say, he's half length off the lead. He was kind of raiding him.
Yeah.
And that was what enabled him to fend off Tejano Twist, because he saved just enough. And I got to be honest, I was questioning his tactics. You know, he's a speed horse. Let him use the speed. There's a ton of speed in here. I think it plays to Tejano Twist's strength.
I love me some sprinters. Looking forward to the the Count Fleet tomorrow. It's a Grade 3. We'll get it back to New York for a post parade here of Race 5.
And Maggie, a live look at the field coming out onto the track. Our favorite continues to be the 6 So Spirited, currently up on the board at 3-2. Taking a look right now at the 2 Killybegs Kid.
Well, I bet the connections last race and finished second. He does have a race fast enough last time. I don't like the race he's coming out of. I'm against this horse.
Jamaica Red going to the lead, but will this horse last?
Well, I've liked some Jamaica Red at different times in my life, just not the horse.
TMI? Actually, that's not too much information. I'd love to hear that side of you. The 4, Charlie Charmer,
my younger days,
hasn't shown anything in 2 career starts thus far.
Was wide against a gold rail in the debut and then caught a sloppy sealed track. So he's a little dirtied up.
And here is a look at Weingold. This will be the 11th attempt at getting the first win of this horse's career.
Had a lot of chances, but finished ahead of the favorite and the horse that I prefer last time, for what it's worth.
So Spirited, second start off a lengthy layoff, off for nearly a year last out.
Is it too obvious, Todd? Second off a layoff, made a big middle move, flattened out. Now I'll be more ready second time off. I went the obvious route.
And if So Spirited delivers, that would be the 3rd consecutive post-time favorite in this pick 6 sequence. And our final horse is the 7, the Hero Code, up on the board at 9-1.
Well, if you like horses putting a hood on, he's the horse for you. Otherwise, he's a little tough to make. How is he only 9-1?
Naira Bets. I've got an account. Andy's got an account. And you should have one.
Going into it.
Yeah, a $200 deposit match. Bet any track, anywhere, anytime with Naira Bets. Sign up today and get up to a $200 deposit match bonus with promo code MATCH200. That's promo code MATCH200. Enjoy betting on over 300 tracks around the world and start winning today. Join now at NairaBets.com. If you talk to Dina or Donnie, tell them that Todd and Andy sent you. Late pick 4, approaching $45,000 here, beginning in race number 5, and taking a look at the 6, So Spirited, whom, as we said, returned to the races after being away for nearly a year. Also, Weingold is in here, and Weingold ends up finishing second, beating a neck, but it was So Spirited who made kind of a menacing move. Looked like this horse was going to go by everybody, and it just seemed to tire.
Just the classic example, at least to me, of a horse that needed a race off a layoff. As you said, made that big middle move and then tired at the end. whereas Weingold was right there. Did lose the favorite. To be fair, the favorite came, or the second choice came on the inside. So Spirited was somehow favored in here. I just think So Spirited is likely to run better second off a layoff. Linda Rice is a horse whose horses often improve second off a layoff, second-time starters, etc.
We are just a minute away here from race number 5 at Aqueduct, and watching the field from the time they arrived in the paddock and currently warming up with her thoughts. Let's check in with Samantha Perry.
Well, the number 6 just quite frankly outlooks this field here, and we might get a third favorite in a row to kick off this pick 6. The 6 to me is a horse that did just run like a tired horse last time, and understandably so, because it was just the first race after a pretty lengthy layoff. Going to improve a lot more this time around. It's been very cold in New York all winter, but the horse looks like he shed that winter coat, which is good to see, and a nice warm up as well. The number 1 Plex is a little bit interesting, and this is a horse that I saw multiple times in South Florida. He's always been one that's carried a lot of weight, so maybe looking at him from a fitness level, you wonder how fit he is, but that's just him. He's just a very big, strong gelding. He wears a Houghton bit, which is a bit that just keeps horses from kind of boring out on the turn, and drawing that rail post. I feel like sometimes that could be a good thing for horses that have a tendency to kind of get out or lug in at that, because it can also be used for that as well. But I do think that just watching this horse's races, he is one that I think will bode well for having some horses to his outside. I don't think that's a bad thing. I know he's been marred by that rail draw in his last 2 starts, but I don't find it a bad thing at all. He does have speed. He just needs to find it. I don't know what has happened with him. He used to be pretty quick from the blocks, and he just has been getting beat up on, and now maybe second start off of a very long layoff, he should be a little bit sharper here today with Chris Elliott in the saddle. And the number 5 Weingold, this is a horse that I put on top. I really wanted to like this horse, and now seeing him physically, I totally understand why they ran this horse on the turf in the past, because he does really just look like a grass horse through and through. Just has that lighter hip and those longer legs, and off the layoff he did run quite well, and he did outfinish So Spirited, but looking at him here and compared to the 6, I have a hard time believing that he's going to turn the tables on So Spirited here today.
All right, so more confidence if you like the favorite here at 6-5, but I want to go back to a price horse that Samantha mentioned, Christopher Elliott on the 1 Plex, by the way, just a week ago tomorrow, he had that huge effort on Right to Party to finish second in the Wood Memorial. That horse can move on to the Kentucky Derby, but he gets the mount here for the first time. They draw the rail. How bad was this horse's start last time out? Did this horse get cost at the beginning?
He didn't.
He didn't.
He didn't.
Okay.
You know, he got forced in a little bit, but I didn't think it was that bad. I didn't think it was good. I don't think it helped him. I would say it hurt him. I don't think it wasn't enough of an excuse for me to write off his race, because I really did give this horse a long look. He's second off a layoff. I have a huge amount of respect for Fernando Abreu. The problem with him is he's got 1 race at Gulfstream that looks fast enough. And man, you've been covering Gulfstream different times.
Yeah.
I'm not saying our 12-5 races are grade 1s. Their 12-5s aren't grade 1s either.
Okay, so against Plex at 11-1, who are you for?
I played a small pick 3 to get alive to my horse, the 2 in the 7th race, and I used the 6 mostly and a little 4.
You've heard our opinion. Most important opinion is yours. Hopefully you're playing it right now, because there are just a couple more horses to load. Live, race number 5 from Aqueduct here on America's Day at the Races on Fox Sports 2. Let's go up to track announcer Chris Griffin.
Looks like the hero code being led forward. So Spirited is still in behind the gate as well. So there goes the gray, the hero code. So Spirited. The hero code backs away. So Spirited, Jose Lescano. Is in. All set. And they're off. Killy Beggs Kid was off very slowly, is the trailer. Charlie Charmer right out to the front, and Jamaica Red's in a tight spot, wants to work on through, and Jamaica Red is ready to challenge Charlie Charmer, and these two speed off together. So Spirited, a stalking journey right there in third, is in good position, is losing some ground. That's Plex in fourth. Pink Silks, it's Wine Gold, who's encouraged to move forward from fifth, and out wide of the Hero Code. The trailer after the beginning, Killybegs Kid. 22.59, pressured opening quarter. Jamaica Red to the inside, Charlie Charmer to the outside. These two noses apart, and now So Spirited is in gear and coming after the leaders. Killybegs Kid was off slowly, but is now right in behind the leaders. And here comes Jamie Rodriguez and Killybegs Kid in behind a lineup of three. As they approach the top of the stretch, it's Charlie Charmer still in front. Jamaica Red is backed out of it. So Spirited, no excuses, down the center of the racetrack, trying to run down this leader. Charlie Charmer, Ricardo Santana Jr. still there with a furlong left to go. It's still Charlie Charmer. Here comes So Spirited, trying to push on by. A 16th left. So Spirited, and still Charlie Charmer coming back to the inside. These two down to the line together. Photo finish between So Spirited to the outside, Charlie Charmer to the inside. Killybegs Kid finished third in 1 minute 12.28 seconds.
What a finish here between So Spirited and Charlie Charmer. Charlie Charmer has the lead at 7-1 and did everything but win in the final strides here.
This is one of those races you watch, and even if you didn't bet or you didn't bet the 4, you feel for people who bet the 4 at 7-1 because they bet a horse that ran just as well as the number 6 in this race and just got nailed in the last strides. The favorite gets it done, So Spirited. But Charlie Charmer, we talked about beforehand, a horse that had excuses, right? I mean, you look at this horse, wide against a gold rail, gets a sloppy sealed track. So I'm not saying you expected him to run well, but I think he was a horse that you could say his PPs did not necessarily indicate his talent. And this field, that's what you're looking for. Unfortunately, if you bet him, you got beaten a zop by the favorite.
And that is the third consecutive post-time favorite to win in the pick 6. The 6, So Spirited, going off at 7-5. 6-4-2-5 posted on the board. You okay?
Were they all lucky that the two got left about 4 lengths?
Andy's going to do his trip notes during this timeout. America's Day at the Races returns right after this.
A surging debut at 2, an international tour de force, an explosive winner of 2 sire-making Grade 1 races.
Raging Torrent running the race of his life, and Raging Torrent and Frankie Dettori cruise to victory in the Malibu. Raging Torrent's coming out party is in the Metropolitan Handicap.
Raging Torrent, the next wave in the Lane's End stallion-making tradition.
Saturday, Fox's America's Day at the Races team is live from Keeneland for the very first time. Thrilling stakes action includes the Lexington as the last chance to qualify for a spot in the Kentucky Derby, and Keeneland's iconic Jenny Wiley on the grass. Plus special team coverage from Oaklawn Park featuring the Apple Blossom Handicap and more live from Hot Springs, Arkansas. Catch Keeneland and Oaklawn Stakes races Saturday, 4:30 Eastern on FS1.
Some horses are remembered, other horses are passed down like an heirloom. He's the kind of horse that lives in stories, each better than the one before, hardened like a diamond and equally brilliant. He ran 3 straight years at the highest level, and he himself was elite.
Putting on a show in the Preakness. Who's it gonna be? It's gonna be National Treasure. National Treasure would not be denied. National Treasure wins the Pegasus World Cup.
In the blink of an eye has opened up a 5-length advantage. So 1-horse race, National Treasure.
There's a brilliance in the way he moved and a tenacity in how he finished. By quality road with a wealth of family, and he raced like he knew it. National Treasure, the key to quality.
Passion, performance, and the pursuit of excellence.
At West Point, the horses are the heart of what we do. The partners really are the soul.
The bar that they set is different than everybody else. This starts and ends with the care of the horses.
This is a real immersive experience.
Thanks for spending this glorious Friday afternoon with us here on America's Day at the Races, as we are proudly brought to you by Hillendale at Alapa. As we have horses on the racetrack for today's fourth race here at Oaklawn, and it is a maiden 20 going the 6 furlongs. Heavy favoritism on number 1, Capital Connection, as we will, though, take a look at your selection, Mig, and that's Historic, who I must say, I turned to you and said, wow, the 6 looks really good on the racetrack. Can he win from the viewpoint of looking at him on paper?
Well, listen, he's not that far off your favorite.
Correct.
The 1 Capital Connection, who very, very much the horse to beat. I don't have any false illusions. I just thought even money there as opposed to 5-1 here when, they were, a couple lengths apart last time, and maybe he can turn the tables at a better price. I'm reaching a little bit. I'm not going to lie to you.
You made a nice impression, but Meg, as we check in with you, you couldn't see past the even money favorite Capital Connection, though.
I couldn't, Maggie, and he just looked best in this spot, and he also has just had the most formful, and I would agree with Mig. It's not a towering form, but it's his consistency that really intrigues. Now, he does break from the inside. He has that speed, and according to the Timeform US, he should control here. We shall see. I do find he will be likely fastest here and get the same kind of trip last time out, where he was beaten by Speedstorm, who was dropping out from Maiden Special to Maiden Claimer for the very first time. So I give him a little credit for that performance last time out, and I think he just makes the sense. I did not want to go against him in this spot. Now, an intriguing runner to the outside is the number 7 Can't Stop Willis. Now, this horse comes off nearly 50 weeks layoff, gets the gelding makeover, kind of a makeover horse in general. Now, this horse has quite some pedigree. The dam is actually a half sibling to Champion Essential Quality. Now, I do find this horse is kind of needed that gelding. It's been pretty recent, so he's going to be kind of a bet back in the future for me with a little bit added ground. But Maggie, I didn't really see past your even money favorite.
I'm glad you mentioned him, Meg. I did think Can't Stop Willis was intriguing. He has never sprinted, though, in his life, but we saw that result in a win earlier on the card, too.
Yeah, I think I overthink that at times, but I think the makeover, gelding, Lasix, and first time in for a tag certainly is intriguing.
It is, as we saw Big Commerce with the turn back get the win in race number 2. But we throw it up to Matt Dinnerman as he has the call here of race 4 from Oaklawn.
We're ready to go. And fire off. Uneventful beginning here. Nyquist Frequency away alertly. He's close to the pace. Capital Connection moving up to come and challenge. Highway Patrol is in a line of horses. Historic also there. Lower Broadway is going to take back here. Capital Connection goes on to take a short lead here. On the outside, Highway Patrol is there to match him. And Historic, who's 3 wide. Nyquist Frequency takes back. Only 2 off the pace in the 4th position now. Lower Broadway next with Gray Star there together. They're 5 off the lead and 2 back to Can't Stop Willis as they round the far turn. Capital Connection, 3 furlongs to go. Narrow lead. Now it's a half length, 3 parts of a length. Highway Patrol is second around the far turn, and Capital Connection tries to clear off here, rounding the far turn. Highway Patrol second. Historic alongside of him, and then comes Nyquist Frequency, is going to be parked 4 wide coming off the turn, but he's gotten a good setup here under David Cabrera down the stretch. Capital Connection in front. Nyquist Frequency on the outside trying to run by him. Capital Connection finding more in the lead. Nyquist Frequency trying to get there, but he's still second, and Capital Connection just keeps going. Capital Connection by 2. Nyquist Frequency second. That's how they're going to finish here. Capital Connection gets it done at even money. Nyquist Frequency was second. Can't Stop Willis rallies for 3rd. Highway Patrol 4th.
A measured victory for your favorite in here, number 1, Capital Connection, for the family team of Steve Asmussen, owner-trainer, and Keith James in the irons.
Yeah, nice to see Keith get another win for his dad. Steve last year was leading trainer here with 41 wins, but we've still got better than 2 weeks to go in this Oaklawn Park stand, and that was his 52nd, I believe, or maybe even 53rd win at the meet. So Steve having a terrific meet. Keith riding well. One thing you know about the Asmussen brothers, both Eric and Keith, wherever they are, they have horse. I think they got a lot of influence from their uncle Cash, who was somebody that always was very thoughtful about saving some horse, having something left underneath them, and somebody who revolutionized the way they rode races in France.
Yeah, exactly. They both come from a long line of horsemen and riders, and it's showing off here as it is 187 unofficially here, but we're going to have to sign off. But we will be back with you at 5:30. Lafitte Pinkai takes over this chair with Mig. I'll be reporting. We'll also have Todd Schrupp and Samantha Perry checking in from New York. Thanks for joining us here on America's Day at the Races. Version 1, like I said, we'll be back later on FS2 for more coverage from Oaklawn.